West. Salute. Welcome to the Damu Kiwe Conversation Podcast. We are the voice of the culture. And I'm a little bit frustrated because for some reason, I believed in a rap. Right? A 137 informant, ex-police officer by the name of Pork Butt. My bad. See, you can't send a pig to do a gangster's job. You understand what I'm saying? You can't send a pig to do a gangster's job. So hit that like button on your way in. Salute to everybody in the chat. We ain't on Clubhouse right now. Chris Slee, salute. You know what I'm saying? Renegade Duchess, how you doing? Let's get it. 004. Tune in. We got the content. Y'all don't even know. I'm finna flame these rat ass niggas up today. I think I sent the link to the chat for Yah. If he able to make it, he will be in here. But y'all know I already got it. Because we finna get on CS2 back helmet. Ricky, salute to Damu Kiwe fam. I'm working, but I'm tapping in. Appreciate, man. You doing that while you get your chalupa, man. Get your chile. Selena, salute to all. Welcome to Damu and Kiwe Conversations. Make sure you hit that like button as you enter. Please do. We definitely need to get in the algorithm and get them people from Off of the Live with Reggie Wright Jr. and CS2 back and on to our live. These nuts. Wack100 is CS2 back. Keyshawn, salute. Hit that MF like button for sure. King Kong the Great. Salute. Mike B. You see, I went back in there and I found one. When we live, we can't give you the wrench. So I went back to the last live, and because you commented there, I was able to give you your wrench. You know what I'm saying? If there's anybody else that the team want, they just got to wait till the live is over. And once the team approve it, go comment. I'm going to call y'all back. Go comment on this live after it ends. And that way I'll be able to go to the comments and give you a wrench. But you got to be approved by Selena. I'm going to call y'all back. Mike B and the team. Kind of allow them to control who's going to be controlling the chat. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Ain't no question, man. Hit that like button. Whoa. Fat Daddy, what up? Kid the Barber, salute to Damu and Kiwe Conversations. Duse M and Yah L. Hey, man, hit that like button. I see that y'all must not want the content. Y'all best believe we finna go questioning it is a statement, right? Y'all have no other content but Wack100 and Reggie, no talent. Well, we was just banging Yah L sections featuring Joe Moses and Coyote for Hire. Very talented. And as far as Wack100 and Reggie, did you just come from their live? Did you not hear them just lie and constantly speak about us? Poking at us? But it's all right when they do it, but you got a problem when we do it. Hey, Scrooly. Oh, it's been 5 minutes already. Suck my dick, nigga. We flame them bust-ass niggas up over here. Nigga, if you sensitive and you don't like it, get your bitch ass on. How about that? You know what I'm saying? Big Marcus, Dukes, y'all, what up? Salute, yeah, man. Oh, back to the music, because I see it's taking people time to get up in here. You know what I'm saying? That was the cleanup thing. So Last night I fall asleep early, like Papa Dirt, what up? You know what I'm saying? Duse and Yah and all the real ones in the chat. Degante Cobbins. Salute to you, Degante. Jungle Boy TV. Salute to the live. What up, though, Deuce? Free Big U. Now, that's a fact, right? You know what I'm saying? For sure, free Big U. But today, we on bullshit, nigga. Clip World TV. Salute, man. I ain't know this was you, Duse Sims. Clip World, what you mean you didn't know this was me, bro? This is where the content at, man. We got the content. The Damu Kiwe conversations. Active Chucks ENT. This is where we at. Nigga, I just saw the Shaquille video and seen it's you that run this channel. Yeah. Oh, man, we got a special guest, one of the GOATs. When you talk about West Coast culture, the gang subculture, and being a historian. Kev Mac videos. Greetings to you, King. And hashtag free Big U in the chat. Y'all already know what's happening. Free Big U until he beat these charges, man. We got the content. Okay, you locked in now. Oh, we got it for you then, man. Let me make sure I send Yah L this link. Pardon me. Matter of fact, we're gonna play the song loud so y'all can really get the song, right? And I'm gonna get Yah L up in here, and then we're gonna start as soon as I get him in. Hit that like button on y'all way in though. Start that over. Obviously, Yah L at work right now and probably can't answer, but he'll be tapping in. But don't even trip, right? Because one thing for sure, all he got to do is watch his back, because I got his front. Just like I got my brother Scandalous Los Angeles TV front. Also, I got my boy Dose Reality TV's back. I got my boy Chris Slee's back. Shout out to Smoked Out TV. Salute to Selena. I'm going to call y'all back. And speaking of back, CS2 back didn't want to take Scandalous $10,000 bet that the Main Street paperwork never said CS2 back was a low-level drug dealer. You know why CS2 back didn't want to take that bet? I'm going to show y'all. I'm finna grab the work. Y'all know the nigga can't read paperwork, right? That's how I was able to bamboozle his ass up out of that money. He don't even know the difference between paperwork and don't know. He said, and whoever CS2 back is, he didn't even tell. He didn't snitch. Nigga defending the rat, right? You know what I'm saying? But let me go. We're gonna go ahead and go get this work. I got the work. You know what I'm saying? We finna get this work real quick. And then I'm finna show you why CS2 back didn't want to take that bid. Now, I guess because he's friendly with Stutterbox, he feel like he can erase the damage that happened when he recorded Stutterbox, and Stutterbox didn't know he was recording. And he asked him, well, why do you what is Mark Stevens saying I got to do with the paperwork? He said, what? In the paperwork, matter of fact, I'm going to let y'all hear it. You know what I'm saying? I talked to dog. You know what I'm saying? That's a classic. Y'all love that anyway. That ad-lib is going down in history, in rat history, nigga. Wrote it in the Rodent Hall of Fame, nigga. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. So we can start here. Hit that like button on y'all way in, man. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button on y'all way in. Boom, we just went and got it that quick. So, boom, I'll blow it up so y'all can see. Amir Shahid, Sherrard, salute to the real. Hey, salute to you, brother. Salam alaikum. It look like you got a Arabic name, brother. And even if you don't, I wish peace unto you and your family. Blessings to you. Shalom to the lost tribe, the tribe of Judah. But right now, we got to bring justice. See, injustice to anyone is a denial of justice to everyone. Scandalous Los Angeles TV, the goats in the building. Oh, I know he finna cut that shit up that Scandalous Los Angeles did, that he got from Pork Butt and CS2 Back. But let me blow this up for y'all, right? So this is why CS2 Back didn't want to take the challenge. For those who wasn't on the live trolling Pork Butt, Veggie Wrong, right? AKA Reggie Wright Jr., right? There were certain topics that was brought up, but you know Reggie wasn't going to press his son in front of him. They both got too many secrets on each other, right? But topics did come up, and one of them was Scandalous Los Angeles saying, let's bet $10,000 because Wack100 claims that CS2 Back was a Main Street Crip and CS2 Back was a low-level drug dealer. So in the paperwork that Annie claims that I made 14 pages of fake work. Well, I'm glad he said that because now we're going to get into the work, right? But first, the reason he didn't want to bet Scandalous Los Angeles, right? Because here you have a phone call that's on a Title III federal wiretap. You have the date at the top, the duration of the call, 7 minutes, 1 second, and you have a summary that the police transcribing it are describing, like detailing, summarizing what's within this phone call, right? Dale, talking about Dale Dog, rest in peace, a Main Street Mafia Crip off the east side. Some people call him the King of LA. Dale tells Stevens, that's your boy. Box, meaning Stutterbox, Robert Ross, went sour. So Dale is telling Mark Stevens that his boy Stutterbox went sour. CS2 Back wants Dale's phone number. Back needs to talk to Dale. It's important. CS2, meaning confidential source 2, Back wants Dale's phone number. You got Mark Stevens, you got Stutterbox, you got Dale Dog, and you got CS2 Back. Well, we know CS2 Back wants Dale's phone number, so it's not CS2 Back is not Dale Dog. They said Mark Stevens is on the phone with Back, so Mark Stevens is not CS2 Back. And then Box went sour, and that's why CS2 Back is trying to talk to him. So Stutterbox is not CS2 Back. So who is CS2 Back, right? Dale Dog talks about the Stutterbox incident, and Back wants to talk to Dale. Mafia talk. And someone talking too much. Stutterbox. Hey, man, I need to talk to Dale, man. Motherfuckers on Mafia talk like on some gangster shit. And motherfuckers, somebody talking too much. Box? Well, it sounds like Back has information on Stutterbox and talks about phone lines being compromised. So this CS2 Back, the confidential source, wants to talk to Dale Dog. He has information on Stutterbox saying that the phone lines are being compromised and that Stutterbox punked the game. 2 messages was left on Mark's phone. Mark is involved in the gang business and operations. Duke, Back is calling on another line to Mark. So CS2 Back is calling Mark Stevens, trying to get in contact with Mark Stevens, and even left messages on Mark Stevens' voicemail, right? Transcribed by KLS. Mark Stevens hit me about 3 times. He want me to give him your number. So I was calling it clear with you first before I give him your number. He called me and Del Dog. I'm cool. I'm cool on that, brother. Mark Stevens. Oh, okay. So you don't want, all right. So you don't want to do no holler, all right? Del Dog. Hey, yo, what's up with you though, man? Mark Stevens. Well, we'll talk. You know, I just need to know, man, when I talk to Back, I'm just gonna tell that nigga, man, oh man, well, you know, homie, you been on the phone with Dude, and you know what I'm saying? You right, man, no telling what lies he told the nigga on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Del Dog. Yeah, and then though, when you call the dude, you make the dude talk about certain stuff on the horn. You know what they got going on. I ain't got no time for this dude. Hold on 1 second. What up, bro? You busy?
Now I can talk, man. Talk to me.
No, we live right now.
Oh shit. Okay.
All right. I think I put it in the chat. I'll send it to your phone though.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. That was the Kiwe pop star. Let me send him the link. Pardon me. Pardon 1 second, gentlemen. And then we going to get back to the work. You know what I'm saying? I got to work. Right? Bear with me 1 second, man. Damn, I had shared it, so it's way down there. Oh, man. Hey, hit that like button if you just getting up in here. Share, tell a friend, because we definitely got the content. And y'all prepare for the entrance of the Kiwe pop star. He will be pulling up ASAP. And hashtag pork butt in the chat. Hashtag CS2 Back in the chat. You know what I'm saying? We is not letting them get away with that this time. These niggas think they just gonna insult a player's intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the worst thing you can do. You might be better off taking the nigga money and running off with it. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. All right, here we go. So back to the work. I got to work, right? Salute, salute, salute. We might as well wait till y'all come so that we can get all the way into this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Well, we can finish the first page. Knock that out while he on his way. So back to what Mark Stevens is doing now. Del Dog tell Mark Stevens, and though when you call the dude, you make the dude talk about certain stuff on the horn, you know that's what they got going on. I ain't got no time for this dude. Mark Stevens. I mean, that's good information. See, now I know how to, like I said, I ain't helping the Wack boy in a minute. You know what I'm saying? He called me out of the blue yesterday. Not yesterday. Yeah, last night. Left me 2 messages and this morning. And I just need to know how to play it cool. You know what I'm saying? Del Dog say, nigga probably said, man, nigga going to jail, laughing. So this is the phone call with Mark Stevens and Del Dog when Mark Stevens was going to trying to do a three-way. He got back on the other line. So
I talked to dog.
I talked to dog. We got the Kiwe pop star in the building.
Man, listen, you already know what it is, man. Salute to Duse M's holding it down till I popped up around, man. Y'all know what it is, man. I'm working. That's for certain, man. If you're on Clubhouse, man, salute to y'all on Clubhouse, man. If you're a mod, salute that you on your job. If you on the goo, salute to you too. If you're on stage, make sure you share the room 3 times so in the hallway we get our shine. YouTube Live, you already know what it is. Salute to the chat. Y'all know that's where it's at. Salute to the Blue Wrench Mob. That's always on their job. And if you're a friend that tapped in, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the content. Y'all see what it is, man. It's the hottest podcast on live right now. And on the West Coast and the culture. We got Duse M, the Don. Yah L, the Kiwe pop star. Damu Kiwe. Conversations.
So, yeah, you might not have paid attention. So last night I went to sleep early. I wake up. I had a missed phone call and a text message.
From who?
From Veggie Wrong, pork butt, right?
Wee. Oh, Porky?
Yeah. So he I see the missed call. It said, wake up. So I jump up. I run to the back door. I'm peeking out the window. Check the perimeter, the front door. I'm thinking the police trying to run up in this motherfucker. When I hear Reggie Wrong, it's only one or two things coming up to you. He done lines you up to get you knocked down, or he done lines you up to put the police on you. But he definitely gonna line a nigga up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, this nigga, this 3 o'clock in the morning. So I called the nigga. Said, man, what's up? What's all that about? Oh no, I want you to send me some questions in the morning when you get up. I'm interviewing Wack100 tomorrow, and I'm gonna ask any questions you want, the tough questions. I went back to sleep, right? I get with Scandalous. Man, I sent a list of stuff for them to do, right?
Right.
Bro, he asked about one of them questions. Wack got to spinning, right? Bro, it was nasty work. So we gonna get into some of these what you call it. I just read one page of the paperwork. I'm gonna read 2 more pages because Scandalous challenged them, and Reggie read it. $10,000 bet that Wack100 can't go through the paperwork and show them where it says that CS2 back was a low-level drug dealer and a Main Street Crip. See, this is right here is why Scandalous was tricking that nigga. You know, we already tricked him out of 2,000. Scandalous trying to trick him out of 10. You know what I'm saying?
He wants the bag.
Yeah, Scandalous. He tried to bait the nigga so bad. The nigga, well, he know he CS2 back. So he know the Scandalous was too sure of himself. He was too cocky, right? So
Correct.
Reggie read it, Wack listening, and it says CS2 back. See, what Wack is reading, you see this stuff that's crossed out? Huh?
No, I'm listening to you, dudes. You say, repeat that one more time for me.
Look at the thing at the screen. You see the paperwork that's crossed out. The part,
yeah, with the line at the top in the right hand. Well, it'll be my right top corner with the X going. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, right. So right there, if I blow it all the way up, y'all should be able. No, that's as much as it go. It says CI2, confidential informant 2.
Wow.
Right. And that's the low-level purchaser of crack cocaine, et cetera, right? You got a CI2, and then you got a CS2. So with his dumb ass can't read no paperwork, you know the nigga gang goofy from when he was horny for content. You know what I'm saying? You know the nigga don't know how to read no work. So we thought we had one. You know what I'm saying? Scandalous try to bamboozle the nigga. The nigga talking about CS2 back was a low-level drug dealer and this and this and this and that, right? No, that's CI2 back.
Correct. Right. I'm listening. Yeah.
So CS2 has provided reliable historical information concerning the Main Street Mafia Crip organization. In the history of Main Street, and shout out to the Main Streets, they got a lot of legendary niggas over there that was getting to that bag. Richie Rich, all kind of dudes, right? Del Dog is one of the most known Main Street Mafia Crips that ever done it in South Central LA, right? Just the accomplishments he made coming up off the east side of South Central LA with his whole crew on. Nigga ain't on till my whole crew on, nigga. He did that. But anyway, CS2 has provided reliable historical information concerning Main Street Mafia Crip organization. Good luck to Wack talking about he didn't ever snitch on nobody. However, CS2 is only aware of certain aspects regarding the organization's criminal activities and narcotic distribution network. CS2 has no knowledge or information regarding the methods in which narcotics are being transported to the Los Angeles area and distributed to mainstream Mafia Crip gang members. Additionally, CS2 is unable to provide information regarding the narcotic customers, flow of narcotic proceeds, and methods that they are using to laundering their narcotic proceeds. CS2 is only able to identify a limited number of Main Street Mafia Crip gang members. Why would you say that it says CS2 back is a low-level drug dealer from Main Street Crip when it makes it clear with this definition he's only able to identify a limited number of Main Street Mafia Crip gang members? How you from Main Street, but you can't identify but a few Main Street Mafia Crip members? The nigga ain't from Main Street. That was one of the clues, you goofy ass nigga. Goofologist 101, nigga. CS2 is unable to provide specific information regarding the organization's extortion activities, methods of monetary collections and distribution of proceeds. CS2 is also unable to provide any information regarding the mainstream Mafia Crip organization. And we got one more page. All right, we got one more page. Hold on. Let me get over here. Oh, wait. Damn, that's not it. Hold on. Let me see where it's at. Oh, here it go. Bam. And it was a CS3. Let me make sure y'all can see this too. Yeah, y'all could. I talked to Duse M. Hit that like button. Oh, my bad. Yah L have fell off the stage. My bad.
I want to elaborate on that last part you said, man.
Go ahead, King.
The fact that he is a lower level CSI, right? Because it's a CSI, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
CSI.
Hold it down real quick. This big U illegal. I'm going to mute up.
100. So the fact that the CSI is a low level. The fact that he's a lower level CSI, that lets you know right there. The paperwork edifies and says he doesn't know any main streets. So that should tell you right there, bro, he don't know any main streets, and the information that he's given is not 100% accurate because he don't know everybody. Wack don't know them all. He know a few. He's not from Main Street. So it makes sense to say the CSI is a lower level drug dealer that can't give a lot of information on the people because he don't know them like that. If y'all not putting two and two together right now, this just came together for y'all being edified by Duse M's and Yah L. The lower level CSI, 100% I believe is CS2 back. Deuce, you right there?
Yeah, I'm on the phone real quick. Keep on.
Bad. Okay, yeah. If y'all agree with that, narrative right there, which is not a false narrative, put a CSI in the chat. Let's see if anybody has put that together. Hey, if I'm wrong, I can apologize. But I don't believe that I'm wrong on this one. I think this dude has disguised himself as a CSI. But he is a 137 confidential source. That's just probably one of the parts of his identity in that paperwork that they chose to disclose in that manner. He don't know a lot of intel about the main streets because he's not from Main Street. So he can only give you what he know. He only know who? Dale Dog. Who else? Stutterbox. That's all he know. And maybe the 7 main streets that he helped beat the case on. Other than that, dude don't know nobody.
Limited amount of them. I'm back with you. So,
did you hear what I said, Deuce?
Yeah, I heard exactly what you said, and that was spot on, King.
Okay, 100%, man.
So, we'll get to that tomorrow. We'll be breaking down. I don't feel like reading that today. We'll be breaking down Quick to Tell Dale's Ohio indictment, right? And we're gonna learn a little bit more about Quick to Tell Dale. So look, so with other leaders of the other large gang organizations, CS2 is able to provide limited information regarding violent assaults committed by Main Street Mafia Crips, including shootings, burglaries, and murders. CS2 is unwilling to testify in court against members of the Main Street Mafia Crip because CS2 is fearful of retaliation against CS2 and or CS2's family. CS2 believes that if any member of the Main Street Mafia Crip criminal organization becomes aware of CS2's cooperation with law enforcement, the organization will likely orchestrate the execution of CS2. So, does it say anywhere in about CS2? Did y'all see anything that said something about a low-level drug dealer about CS2, not CI2, CS2? Anything about a low-level drug dealer, or just this declaration that this confidential source is a Main Street Mafia Crip member? No. In fact, everything in there seems to indicate that he has limited information about who the Main Streets is, how the insides of how they're laundering their money, where their dope is delivered, but he was able to give them a little, limited amount. Wack acted like he was texting Stutterbox. No, he probably was texting Stutterbox. See, one thing, even during this investigation, which was crazy, was the game is so slimy. These niggas was backstabbing each other, acting, working, all burning both ends of the stick, right? Wack is acting as if he riding with Stutterbox, and he was for the most part, at least in public. But then he's giving information to Mark Stevens and their side of the Deja 34 investigation, because remember, he's an employee as a security guard for them at the time, security guard for Ranger. So then he tells them one thing, and that this is what Stutterbox saying. Then he goes back and tells them more information, right? And then he allegedly drops the Addy and the low on where Stutterbox lived, and Stutterbox Rolls Royce was shot up, I think 17, 18 times. You know what I'm saying? So that was some nasty work. Gregory Womack, salute, man. Active Chucks in the Damu Kiwe conversation. Let's hit that like button. Let's get these likes up. So we're gonna get into this. But yeah, man, Scandalous was trying to get that $10,000. You know what I'm saying? That nigga's a hater. He couldn't see us with it. He remembered
he would have got it too, Deuce. He would have got it. He would have got it if he would have took that bet. But you already know, man, a bet like that on the public stage right now, with everything going on, first and foremost, being exposed as a CS2, and then like spinning the narrative every time somebody talk about it, and you're not really getting in depth. Look at what Reggie Wright did. You sent him a whole list of questions. He couldn't even answer those questions. He couldn't even answer them questions because it would have been too severe for his character and him. That would have let you know right there the partnership and them dealing with each other for so long would have been exposed. So he played it smart as a snake rat as he is.
No, that's a fact. So let's get into some of these clips. I'm gonna be looking for some clips, but I'm gonna take y'all back on this one. So we're gonna get into some of these clips, right? Let's go here first.
Wack100 as a confidential source in the Main Street Mafia Crips case.
We're going to get into the paperwork. The paperwork is a transcript of a wiretap. And once I get into this paperwork, you're going to understand that Wack was one of the names that the feds used for confidential source number 2. So Wack also says CS2. Wack, CS2 for those.
Not only in an interview with Duse M's and Stats 280, but also right to Wack's face on the recorded phone call. In part 2 of this video, let's take a look at the actual paperwork from the case, which exposes Wack100 as a confidential source in the Main Street Mafia Crips case.
We're going to get into the paperwork. The paperwork is a transcript of a wiretap. And once I get into this paperwork, you're going to understand that Wack was one of the names that the feds used for confidential source number 2. So Wack also says CS2. Wack, CS2 for those.
Not only in an interview with Duse M's and Stats 280, but also right to Wack's face on the recorded phone call.
So
in part 2 of this video, let's take a look at the actual paperwork from the case, which exposes.
Let's see. Hopefully it'll let us go right to the next one, right? Without having to do all that. Let's go. Okay, so there it go. Boom.
The wiretap on which Wack100 is exposed as a confidential source.
Stutterbox, what up? Can you hear?
Oh, what's up, homie?
What's going on? Salute, Stutterbox.
An opportunity for you to play. And it's ironic, it's the same day that we get the story from Mark Stevens, who said that this dude is running campaigns against people, especially Big U. He's mad because once Big U found out from Mark Stevens that he was cooperating on the Main Street case, that he couldn't with him no more. He's afraid that Big U would expose him. You know what I'm saying? And you said in a video that not only did you not tell on Wack100 and send him in his house when he got raided, but you said that you heard an audio with him on a wiretap conspiring to murder.
The wiretap on which Wack100 is exposed as a confidential source.
Heard him on the wiretap.
Oh, what's up, homie?
What's going on? Salute, Stutterbox.
By dropping the Addy on Stutterbox. Are we gonna get into all of these clips? Because one of y'all favorite clips is up in here. Let me see where it's at. I think it's in the regular videos because it's a little longer. My bad. Let's go over here where the regular videos is at. Wack100 continues. Greg Kading. Oh yeah, here it go right here.
Damu Kiwe conversations. With the case. Nigga, I was accorded. My house got raided.
Told you he can't read paperwork.
Listen, in the paperwork it said you tried to call dog, remember? I tried to call take your call. I sent it to you. And he said, I talked to dog.
Now, you just heard Wack say that he spoke to Del Dog, but in a minute, you're going to hear him admit that he didn't even have Del Dog's phone number, and Mark Stevens was trying to set up the call for him, which is exactly what the paperwork says CS2 Wack was trying to do. CS2 Wack wanted Mark Stevens to give him Del Dog's phone number, And Wack is going to admit that he himself was trying to get Mark Stevens to call Del Dog. Wack is CS2 back.
But he said he didn't talk to you. He wouldn't take your call.
And I think, wait. And I think Mark tried to set the three-way up.
He just said Mark was trying to set a three-way up for him to talk to Del Dog. That's exactly what the paperwork says, guys. Wack100 is on here telling on himself. Why doesn't Wack just call Mark Stevens and ask him what's the paperwork say? Why would he record Stutterbox instead? I guess we all know the answer to that question.
But they said he wouldn't talk. Yeah, and Dog said he was cool. He didn't want to talk to you in the paperwork.
But listen, you got to remember.
In the paperwork.
That's
what Duse Sims is going off of.
But listen, how was that? Well, hold on. Of course he knew. Everybody knew I was riding with Box. This is my question. If Mark trying to put me on a three-way with Del Dog, right? The whole time Mark dealing with Del Dog, right? And I told you that. Yeah. I told you that. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I told you that, right? They ain't knowing the whole time I'm feeding information back to you. So
doesn't that sound like the counterintelligence program right there? COINTELPRO? Wack just said he was going back to Stutterbox telling him everything Mark Stevens and Del Dog were saying, but we also know that Wack was going back to them saying Stutterbox had went bad. I hope you guys can see that.
you know I did.
And I told you, they want to get this shit is Wack. This shit is not about me and Dog. They trying to get Suge. And you told Suge.
I told him.
You told him. I know you told him.
I told him, I say, homie, I don't know what you got going on, but Box telling me it's an investigation going on. You got to remember.
Because it wasn't about Dog, it was about Suge.
If it was about Dog,
if it was about Dog, he'd have been doing life because they had him on the phone.
Yeah.
They didn't want Dog, they wanted Suge. We got a super chat real quick. Yeah, you can read out that super chat?
Yes, sir. We got, is it Tartan Mystic with the $5 euro super chat?
Yes, yes.
£5.
£5.
We don't do euros here. Joking aside, just a few something to say thanks for the education. Man, we appreciate you and everything that you donate. Anything that is given to the Damu Kiwe Conversation team is highly appreciated. Salute to you, your family, and your tribe.
Hey, that's a fact. Thank you, Tartan Mystic. And salute to you and prayers over you and your family. Stay strong. Dose of Reality TV, my brother, your last video was epic. Hey, bro, I've been telling them the same thing. But let's start that one back over because there was a lot said on here since he want to pull the wool over our eyes because he can bribe Stutterbox into flipping the script and going back on what was already said. Now, mind you, he could go and say, well, I just told them, Big U and Duse Sims and them, whatever lie I wanted to tell them. But this was a call that Wack100 recorded and put out because his dumb ass didn't even realize that the nigga was throwing him under the bus. Stutterbox didn't know he was being recorded on this call. Wack is trying to line him up because he knew that we was interviewing Mark Stevens. So once he heard we was interviewing Mark Stevens, he called Stutterbox trying to offer his Stutterbox daughter equity into his diaper company, asking is J Hood okay in jail, Stutterbox son? Do nephew need me to send him some money? Oh, we got all that. Matter of fact, we're going to get into that. But let's listen to this again because it says in the paperwork. That's what Duse Sims is talking about. I thought I had fake paperwork, what? Ain't that what you been spreading to the world? Duse Sims went and made fake paperwork? But the victim in the Deja 34 investigation, the Main Street Mafia case is a little different, but they cross, right? It's telling you in the paperwork, it says that you were the one calling Mark Stevens, trying to get in contact with Del Dog. Well, we just read that paperwork, and the person calling Mark Stevens is referred to as a confidential source. In fact, as CS2 Back, the Wack boy. Nigga, you's a rat. Let's go.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm
What
trying
is
to
he
put
saying
together
I had to do with the case? Nigga, I was a target. My house got raided. My truck
Yeah,
got
in the paperwork. Like, listen, in the paperwork, it said you tried to call dog, remember?
I tried to
And you
call
won't take
dog.
your call. And I sent it to you. And he said,
I talked to dog.
Now you just heard Wack say that he spoke to Del Dog, but in a minute you're gonna hear him admit that he didn't even have Del Dog's phone number, and Mark Stevens was trying to set up the call for him, which is exactly what the paperwork says CS2 Back was trying to do. CS2 Back wanted Mark Stevens to give him Del Dog's phone number, and Wack is gonna admit that he himself was trying to get Mark Stevens to call Del Dog. Wack is CS2 Back.
but he said he didn't talk to you. He wouldn't take your call.
And I think, wait. And I think Mark tried to set the three-way up.
He just said Mark was trying to set a three-way up for him to talk to Del Dog. That's exactly what the paperwork says, guys. Wack100 is on here telling on himself. Why doesn't Wack just call Mark Stevens and ask him what's the paperwork say? Why would he record Stutterbox instead? I guess we all know the answer to that question.
But they said he wouldn't talk. Yeah, and dog said he was cool. He didn't want to talk to you in the paperwork.
But listen, you got to remember, Mark
That's what
tried
you
to
said was going off of what
I
dog
talked
didn't want
to
to talk to
dog.
you. You think
But listen,
dog
how
knew
was that?
what-
Well, hold on. Of course he knew. Everybody knew I was riding with Box. This is my question. If Mark trying to put me on a three-way with Del Dog, right? The whole time Mark dealing with Del Dog, right? And I told you that. Remember I told you that. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I told you that, right? They ain't knowing the whole time I'm feeding information back to you. So
Doesn't that sound like the counterintelligence program right there? COINTELPRO? Wack just said he was going back to Stutterbox telling him everything Mark Stevens and Del Dog were saying, but we also know that Wack was going back to them saying Stutterbox had went bad. I hope you guys can see that.
That's a fact.
And I told you, they want to get this next. This shit is whack. This shit is not about me and dog. They trying to get Suge. And you told Suge.
It's
I
not
told
about getting Del
You
Dog.
told I know you told him.
Him lining up
I
Del
told
Dog
him,
was
I said,
just
homie,
helping
I don't
to
know what
work
you got
off
going
what
on,
cases he
but
got.
Fox telling me
They wanted
it's an
Suge.
investigation going on. You got to remember.
Because it wasn't about dog. It was about Suge.
When
If it was about
Biggie and
dog,
Pac got... When
if it
Biggie
was
and
about
Pac
dog,
got-
he'd have been doing life because they had him on the phone.
Yeah.
If it was about dog, he'd have been
But
doing
Mark,
life.
thinking about it, Mark is the one that tried to call Dog on the three-way. I never had Dog phone number. Thinking about it, Mark is the one that tried to call Dog on the three-way. I never had Dog phone number. Thinking about it, Mark is the one that tried to call Dog on the three-way. I never had Dog.
I talked to Dog. And then you just hear the man say, thinking about it, Mark was the one that tried to call Dog because he didn't have Dog. He never had Dog number. Thinking about it, Mark is the one that tried to call Dog because I never had Dog phone number. This is some nasty work, bro. This nigga. Let's go into this. Is this an hour and 49 minutes? Or is that 13 minutes? Yeah, that's an hour and 49 minutes. That's not the one. I want to get into this interview with Money Mark Stevens, and then we'll get into the interview with Stutterbox, right? And we going to go back into the facts, and you can hear the two people. The question Scandalous was asking Reggie Wright, well, one of the questions was asking Reggie Wright to ask Wack100, well, Wack100, why is Mark Stevens, who wasn't getting along with Stutterbox because he was aligned with Del Dog, and they're saying Stutterbox is snitching on them, right? And Shaquille O'Neal, you know what I'm saying? And the Ray J deal gone bad, and Stutterbox is an alleged victim in this Ray J deal gone bad. Why is they both sides of this pointing the finger at you as being the nigga that as the nigga that was on that phone call CS2 Back? They both ain't lying. They both seen the work. And he was saying right then and there that you are the one that was on that phone call. So let me get to the content. Mark Stevens interview. Money Mark. Yeah, we on the right path. Let me get to this real quick. Here it go, right here. Bam. Damu Kiwe. Conversation. Hit that like button. Bottom line. Oh, y'all can't even see it. I'm tripping. Let me share this. I'm thinking y'all can see it. Now remember, Wack said, everybody know I was working with you. I was getting information from them, feeding it to you. Then you heard Shaw Banks said, doesn't that sound like the COINTELPRO? Now listen to what Money Mark say. Exact same thing. Boom.
Wack100, Cash Jones. And when he contact you, what did he contact you concerning?
He wanted to reach out to Del Dog, rest in peace. And he wanted to give Del Dog some information that he had gotten from Stutterbox.
So he gets a call from Wack100. The same thing that happened on the thing, and he wants to get some information to Del Dog. Right? Exact same thing. Let's go.
Right? It's like he was getting information from Stutterbox on what his plan was and what the get down was gonna be. And he wanted to talk to the homie and talk to him. And Dog wasn't getting on the line with him. And he kept blowing me up because he wanted me to get him on the line.
Smart man. Rest in peace to Del Dog, man. So he's talking about the phones is being compromised. Is that one of the things that he told you?
Well, the homie Del Dog never trusted dude. You follow me?
Right.
So Dog didn't know was the lines compromised or was they wired up for sound or not. He just wasn't gonna chance it. You follow me?
Right.
But it was later on. It was later on after they took the case to they was taking it all away because the homie ain't had no choice. You know, he was facing a life sentence, so he had to take it all away. And with all the lawyers that was involved, they was able to get the discovery, and that's when we found out that the lines was compromised.
And as soon when you get the discovery, was part of that the actual wiretaps? The
whole transcript. I got the whole transcripts. The whole transcripts of the whole wiretaps.
And do you, in that paperwork, do you see your conversation with Cash Jones in them transcripts?
That was the initiating. That was the initiating when they started recording.
Right. Right. And how did they refer to Cash Jones?
In the paperwork they put him as Back, BACK. And
correct.
I kept asking the lawyer, like, who the fuck is, I ain't talked to no Back. And they said, nah, that's Wack. But they put him as Back because he a blood. So it's back. And I said, oh, okay.
And was this back also referred as confidential source number 2?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Well, man, I'm glad that the truth was able to come out. And it's sad.
But bigger than that, but bigger than that, homie, right? You know, I watched dude, man. He said some things about the big homie Shaq, you know, that wasn't true. He said some things like he been trying to destroy the big homie Big U name, and I'm seeing and watching this, and I called the big homie U. We was talking. I said, "Yo, when you get into Atlanta, man, come see me, cause I had what I had for years." And when I gave it to the homie, I said, "Man, you read it," because it was a big ass textbook of shit. And the homie just sided with what was right. He said, "I can't fuck with dude no more," and that was the end of that.
Until Wack started attacking, and that's when Wack started attacking him with false allegations and all of this online weird shit, right?
Correct, because the homie Big U asked me why I didn't fuck with the nigga, and I said, when you pull up, I'm gonna show you. I want you to read it. And when he read it, he was like, "Oh, okay, I see why you don't fuck with the nigga. I can't fuck with the nigga." And that was it.
Wait, how long was it from when you first got it that you met you in Atlanta to show him the work?
I got the paperwork from the attorneys probably in, I want to say,
everything we ever dreamed of.
12 or 13, because it was a series of, you know, remember the incident happened in 07, 06, 07, but Box had went to prison. He called a drug case, so he went to prison, and they waited to almost the last month of the statute of limitations to go get the homies from Main Street. Right. So it had been about a 5-year period from the time that had happened to the time that they came and got the big homies. And then once how
did you feel about you waiting that long now?
Well, he chastised me, and I never, one of the things, bro, and it's like it's the slippery slope, as people say, right? Like on one end, Wack, the nigga, he wasn't doing no harm, right? He was just trying to move around and be the tough guy. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? My whole thing is, okay, that's what you want to do, cool. But then it went from that to, I heard what he was saying about the big homie Shaq, and then I heard what he said about Big U, and that's when I picked up the phone. I said, "Hey, you, man, I want you to read something, man." And then once you read it, once you know, you know. That's Quran. That's the Holy Quran. Once you know, you know. You're accountable for what you know. And when he read it, he said, "Okay, I see why you don't fuck with dude. I can't fuck with dude." And that was it. Let me tell you something, man. I probably haven't seen nor talked to Wack in years, and I wish everybody success and happiness, but not on the basis of lies.
Right.
And
not on and really indicative of your character, Mark, because you have a whole campaign publicly of a brother that's heavy in our community positively, helping get these kids graduated from school and into football and all of these other positive things. And he smutting his name through the mud just because he decided not to deal with him.
And brother, well put. Look, I call the homie Big U all the time. I call him the naked truth. And he always be like, "Why you call me the naked truth?" I said, "Because Wack is the well-dressed lie." It's an old parable about truth and lie when swimming. And, lie jumped out the water and put on truth clothes. So you had a well-dressed lie, but then truth got out the water and it was naked. So you got the naked truth that's trying to run down a well-dressed lie. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, it is what it is with the homies.
Well, yeah, man. Well, I know you a businessman and you stay on positive shit, man. I'm sorry that we had to even delve into these negative accusations that got a lot of people, good people, then caught up in it. But we needed to get the truth where truth appears, falsehood disappears, man. And I wanted to hear that for myself, man.
Man, hey, man, I appreciate you, man. And, God bless. But like I said, man, it's a lot of things is just a well-dressed lie. That's all I can say.
Right. And that's what Cass Jones is. He is the well-dressed lie.
Yeah, and Big U was the naked truth. It is what it is. He always stood on the side of truth. He ain't never wavered from that. From the time I gave him that paperwork.
Great point, Seven.
I watched him take assault after assault because he just did the right thing. He just said, I can't fuck with you.
And I'm so glad that he ain't responded publicly to these negative lies because he's above that shit. Let him stay low and you just stay high. Don't let this man trick you up off the street or the feeling like you got to address every lie he makes up every day.
Well, and then you got to understand too, bro, it's, like I told you about throwing a rock and hiding your hand. What's the motive for throwing the rock to begin with? Like, we know the rocks is being thrown, but what's the motive? Like, only thing I saw the homie Big U do, put out a great documentary on hip hop. I see him, man, putting these kids through college and sending them like I'm trying to understand what's the motive, or it's a motive that we can't comprehend because we don't think on those levels. You feel me?
Hey, that's perfectly said. And I'm gonna tell you this: in all of my life, being from the community of South Central Los Angeles, only time I ever heard of a public artificial dissemination of disinformation was through COINTELPRO and J. Edgar Hoover, man. And I'm just gonna drop that jewel and let you go, man.
Man, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a good day, man.
Likewise,
brother. All right, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Damu Kiwe.
Money, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go ahead, bro.
That you want to know something? Every time you replay that clip, and I hear when you guys are talking, it resonates something new every time. The fact that Mark Stevens knew he was gonna get chastised for withholding that paperwork for so long, and he knew he should have gave that paperwork up sooner because it probably would have, it wouldn't have, I don't know, maybe some of this stuff wouldn't have happened,
Right.
But this is the thing, and this is the point that I want to make to everybody. The way he held on to that paperwork and he admitted he was wrong for that, when you know somebody did foul, you don't disguise it around money. You don't disguise that, because all it does is just plateaus that situation even into a deeper hole. And then on top of that, you heard what he said. Wack just wanted to play the tough guy. Look at his persona over the internet. On Power when I beat you, you going to bed. You playing tough, but all the shit you did was fuck. Nigga, you did a gang of fuck shit. You run around here playing tough guy, but you a whole blown CS2 137 confidential source. Playing tough and snitching. Just like the TV show. What'd you say, Deuce?
I said, man.
Playing tough and snitching on people. And then on top of that, you ain't even standing on business. No catching in the fades. No get back for your dead brother. You didn't got touched on. You ain't even knock your uncle out for touching on you. But you yet want to run around here on the internet playing Mr. Tough Guy, and Mark Stevens said, oh, yeah, that's cool. That's not cool, bro. That's wrong. The fact that this nigga got a platform and a voice, and he's able to do all this fuckery because of his platform associating with the industry, and he playing tough on the internet. Now look at all of this stuff. Look at the people. Look at that. Look at the narratives he done spent, and now people believe them. I just want y'all to recognize when motherfuckers do wrong, expose their ass. Love is not saying I love you because I'm your brother, or it's letting you know, hey, look, bro, you was wrong for that. Hey, I was wrong for that. Let's work it out. Or you was wrong for that, you got to make that right. Or you was wrong for that, I can't fuck with you because you got to make that right. That's real love, not this shit y'all see on the internet. And I land on that, dudes.
Hold on, I'm trying to see. I think this is it. Hold on, let me see. Nah, this is the whole thing. That ain't the whole thing. I'm trying to get to this whole thing with okay, here it go. I know where it's at. Bam. Let me see. Can you see the screen? I gotta share it. My bad. Active in the chat because the chat's where it's at.
Whatever you're trying to show, dudes, I didn't see it.
Oh no, I know. I'm putting it up now, bro. You know what I'm saying? We finna get into this with Stutterbox, right? So we're gonna get into this with Stutterbox, right? How come I can't hear nothing? You had on the Free Freddie Sanders thing. Damn, this ain't it. Oh man, let me stop. I thought this was it. Matter of fact, let's just play this real quick. Can you hear it? Oh, y'all can't even see it. Damn, my bad. I'm over here tripping.
Friend to kill several people, including a gang member, a record producer, and a woman he impregnated. Those are the shocking allegations in a new lawsuit. Shaq's former pal Robert Ross, an ex-gang member, is suing O'Neal for allegedly masterminding a plot to have him kidnapped by other gang members back in 2008. So how is Wack100 involved in this case? And how do we know he was an informant? It's simple. You look at the paperwork and or talk with the individuals directly involved in the case. That's exactly what we did. In order to get to the truth, there are 3 individuals from the case we need to look at. Wack100, Robert Ross, also known as Stutterbox, and Shaq's business partner Mark Stevens. First up is Stutterbox, the man at the center of the wiretap on which Wack100 is exposed as a confidential source.
Stutterbox, what up? Can you hear?
Oh, what's up, homie?
What's going on? Salute, Stutterbox.
An opportunity for you to voice it. And it's ironic, it's the same day that we get the story from Mark Stevens, who said that this dude is running campaigns against people, especially Big U. He's mad because once Big U found out from Mark Stevens that he was cooperating on the Main Street case, that he couldn't fuck with him no more. He's afraid that Big U would expose him. You know what I'm saying? And you said in a video that not only did you not tell on Wack100 and send him in his house when he got raided, but you said that you heard an audio with him on a wiretap conspiring to murder. Could you expand on that for me, bro?
I said,
Police ass nigga, talking about nigga, the first code of conduct is you don't talk to the police. Nigga, you is the police, nigga. Officer Wack, snitch ass 100. You should be silent and violent.
let this buster ass nigga know I know what he did. I'll get to some gangster shit. Nigga almost killed me and my baby mama, put like 20 holes in my Rolls Royce. Make it up out of there. Wack see the bullet holes in my car the next day. He reaching out, trying to contact the nigga who supposed to be the boogeyman. I know where the nigga live at. You know what I mean? It's in the paperwork. All on wiretap. That's why your house got raided, you bitch ass nigga. You conspiracy to commit murder, nigga. You buster ass nigga. Let me tell you how I'm play out. Call cuz, like, cuz. It's 3 niggas sitting in front of your house, cuz. Is these your homies, Wack? Oh, no, box. I know who.
Drop the link in the Discord.
Them niggas probably almost shot each other trying to pull off. Almost shot each other. If I know what I knew now, I would have jumped over their car, cuz, ran across the lawn, kicked in Wack door, and killed cuz on Main Street.
His house got raided because he was on the wiretap. With Dog, you know?
Right.
The homie not here no more. Rest in peace to the G homie. I wish Dog was here to address this himself. You feel me?
Right.
But I'll enlighten y'all on different things. What is it exactly you want to clear out? And I air it out, clear it out, however it gotta go.
So on the video, when you said something about conspiracy to murder, what actually did you hear on audio of Wack100 that the feds had, but haven't charged him for conspiring to murder?
He allegedly gave Dog my address, homie. And I told you that they was in front of my house. So somebody gave him the address. If I get killed, whoever gave him the address gonna get conspiracy to murder. But if I don't get killed, they just get conspiracy to attempted murder because they shot up my Rolls Royce, put 17 holes in my Rolls Royce. Whoever passed the baton. So it's a question mark there, homie. You know, we from the streets. We know that.
Right.
Stutterbox. So how about this? When have you had any conversations with Mark Stevens after, you know, all this happened?
Yeah. Mark, my Muslim brother, homie.
Okay.
I love the brother. I talked to him probably last week.
We glad that we got that cleared up because it shows how much he lied and how he's trying to get out in front of this story that he knew was coming. And that's the interview with Mark Stevens exposing that he was confidential source to back on the Main Street indictment.
A day after this interview with Stutterbox drops, confirming that Wack100 was caught on a wiretap with a conspiracy to commit murder, yet never going to jail for it. Wack decides to call up Stutterbox himself on a recorded phone line.
Let's play Stutterbox talking to Wack. This is what I'm trying to figure out, though, Box. Help me understand this, because me and you both know that whole case was your thing. What is Mark saying I had to do with the case, bro?
Wack, listen, in the paperwork, it said you tried to call Dog, remember?
I tried
and
to
he
call
won't take
Dog.
your call. And I said it to you. And he
I
said
talked to Dog.
But he said he didn't talk to you. He wouldn't take your call. But they said he wouldn't talk. Yeah, and Dog said he was cool. He didn't want to talk to you in the paperwork.
Mark
That's what you said is going off of what
that whole Main Street shit. That was your play. I had nothing to do with it. I was a victim.
Because they said when Dog called you, his phone was hit. That's how they got on your line.
No.
And you play. That's what they say, what?
No.
As you can see by now in this first part, Stutterbox.
So we finna get back into that. But before we get back into that, let me stop sharing real quick. Before we get back into that, I want y'all to really just digest what you just heard. Wack100 had came up on Clubhouse after, you know, he heard that we was on the phone with interviewing Mark Stevens, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna bring the Stutterbox. I'm gonna bring the Stutterbox audio to basically like he gonna clear himself with Stutterbox." Remember last year when I first released it and Stutterbox made that video towards Wack100, Wack100 was saying, "Oh, you can't believe the snitch. Why are you gonna believe the snitch?" Knowing that Mark Stevens is a businessman, hasn't coming out with the paperwork and not knowing that he was a CS2 back and all that. And so he did, "Oh, he's never gonna come. I'm good. Nobody's ever gonna find out." Wack100, I know what you did last summer, my nigga. So the nigga comes on Clubhouse and he plays that audio. And he said, "Well, why does Mark Stevens," let me go back and rewind that for you so y'all can get understanding. Why is Mark Stevens mad at me, or why is he on me? And Stutterbox, the dude's supposed to clear Wack. Stutterbox say, because you in our paperwork. You're in the paperwork for the Main Street Crips, right? you're not charged on that indictment. Never was charged on that indictment, right? You keep spinning us, got us going, thinking about the Tupac Biggie murder, you and Greg Kading. Well, for those of y'all who believe Greg Kading, first of all, who's a dirty cop and doesn't really have any credibility, right? I'm gonna go ahead and go on here and play some audio for y'all where Greg Kading specifically admits that he didn't know what was going on with Box and the Main Street Mafia case. He didn't get involved in that case till well after. This is when I dropped the paperwork. Wack tried to bring 2 retired police to Clubhouse to verify that he wasn't working with these police. I've never seen no shit like that, right? He brought the police on Clubhouse to verify that he wasn't working with the police. So I'm gonna play this clip. Let me get on StreamYard so that I can share this for y'all, so y'all can understand that y'all fell for the 3-cup Molly tricks, right? 3-card Molly. Here we go. We're gonna share this.
You playing it right now, Deuce?
Yeah, you can't hear it?
No, I can't hear it on my end. My internet keep jumping in and out. My bad, bro.
Let me see. We're gonna let it play one more time. Right.
Somebody because you haven't proven their reliability. So, I don't know what Box had going on, the whole Main Street thing and all his drama and background going on with that case. I became involved in it later, but
he make it clear while Wack then brought him on here to clear him that he don't know what was going on with the Main Street case and stutter box and all of that, because at that time he had nothing to do with that investigation. So while you done raided Wack100 house and Wack went to the 64th floor of the federal building and went to the 64th floor of the federal building, then you didn't have nothing to do with the Main Street case. Wack was never charged in the Main Street case. So that means that Wack was being interviewed by Greg Kading for something other than the Main Street Mafia investigation. So y'all keep that in mind when you get to thinking about the implications of that. You're not in jail. You went to talk to the FBI, which were covering the Main Street case, and the sheriffs also, as well as you went to go talk to Greg Kading. We know that, and he makes it clear he had nothing to do with it. So why would you bring Greg Kading, who have nothing to do with the Main Street and their investigation until later after you was arrested, to verify your name as if he was the lead on the Main Street investigation? Don't believe me? Go on YouTube to Wack100 bring Greg Kading on to Clubhouse, him and Reggie Wright Jr., and you go listen to him saying, that's the lead detective on the investigation right there. Yeah, he was telling the truth, but the investigation of Tupac and Biggie murder, that's Greg Kading.
Get them likes
with
up.
The Main Street, that's another animal. So now we're gonna go back to the premiere.
That
Part
white
1
boy
is
is a
almost
civilian.
over. Let me see. Oh, hold on. They got me doing a whole bunch. Hit that like button, share, tell a friend. Hold on. It's not playing. Let me get this shit right. Go back
Damu
to
Kiwe.
your
Nations.
present. Share screen. Share screen. My bad. For all of y'all that didn't get that last part, we'll let that go. It was the ending anyway. But we're going to make sure that y'all get an opportunity to hear the last part because it's very pertinent. Here it go.
No.
And you play. That's what they say, what?
No.
As you can see by now in this.
Did y'all hear that? Could y'all hear on Clubhouse?
I'm trying to figure out, though, boss. Help me understand this, because me and you both know that whole case was your thing. What is Mark saying I had to do with the case, bro?
Like, listen, in the paperwork, it said you tried to call Dog, remember?
I tried to
and he
call
won't take
Dog.
your call. I sent it to you. And he
I
said
talked to Dog.
But he said he didn't talk to you. He wouldn't take your call. But they said he wouldn't talk. Yeah, and Dog said he was cool. He didn't want to talk to you in the paperwork.
Mark
That's what
tried
Duse M is going off of. What
that whole Main Street shit, that was your play. I had nothing to do with it. I was a victim.
Because they said when Dog called you, his phone was hit. That's how they got on your line.
No.
And you play. That's what they say, what?
No.
As you can see by now in this first part, Stutterbox clearly implicates Wack100 into this case, not only in an interview with Duse M's and Stats 280, but also right to Wack's face on the recorded phone call. In part 2 of this video, let's take a look at the actual paperwork from the case, which exposes Wack100 as a confidential source in the Main Street Mafia Crips case. For this breakdown of the paperwork, we turn to rapper Duse M's, who is responsible for exposing this paperwork to the world.
Big M told you niggas now, bitch hit your brimmy, bitch hit your brimmy, bitch hit your brimmy, bitch hit your brimmy. Now all my homies feel it out.
Bitch hit your brimmy. Kings and Duse M's in the West Side FHN into the building. Back to the money after 10 years in.
We're gonna get into the paperwork. The paperwork is a transcript of a wiretap. Once I get into this paperwork, you're gonna understand that that was one of the names that the feds used for confidential source number 2. So that what also says CS2. That CS2, for those who don't understand law, is
all praises to the Most High.
Source.
That's part 1 of a 3-part documentary. Hey, Wack100, good looking out. I'm gonna make you famous, my nigga. You want?
Can't hear you, dudes.
Can you hear me? Hey, Yah L, can you hear me? We know the reason for throwing a rock. I guess not. Let me see. Hey, somebody put a 1 in the chat on YouTube and let me know that y'all can hear me.
I can hear you now.
Oh man, you got me thinking that niggas can't hear me and all that. You know what? I'm gonna fuck you up. What's up? Welcome, my brother, from another Simply Talking podcast. One of the YouTubers that was smart enough to say, I'm not finna let this nigga boss me around here, weirdo. I'm my own boss. I'm gonna get your content and the other side content and not be biased. Shout out Simply Talking podcast.
Salute. What's up, fellas?
Oh, did you see part 1?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. What you got to say about that, Yah L, before we get into part 2? And then simply, I want your back feed on it. We're going to go to Clubhouse for about 10 minutes and let everybody on Clubhouse on the stage, any questions they got to have, or just what comes to their mind after being dropped on with overwhelming evidence from somebody on the Main Street case. Your mic on, Yah L. He gone. Come on, Simply. What you got to say, bro?
Nah, I think the nigga ratting because why are you going through all this fucking extra shit trying to sue people and all this? If you straight, you don't need to sue nobody.
Oh, we didn't even talk to that. Give some context to what you mean about the lawsuit.
Yeah, didn't he say he was that he was going to sue somebody for defamation? What did he say? He said defecation, taking the shit.
No. Deformation, like it was deformed. He illiterate, bro. The little boy.
That shit was crazy, man.
He didn't realize he was dealing with a hashtag thinkers, my nigga. You ain't as smart as he claimed to be, my nigga. But yeah, for those
like I said, I ain't got no dog in the fight, but that shit is all messed up. Nasty work.
But the first place, you ain't even supposed to be in nobody paperwork, especially when you ain't charged on that case. You know what I'm saying? So why is you, and then well, we ain't got to that, but what he was talking about at Wack100 is feeling the onslaught. He's getting it from all ways. Hey, Eggy Egg, mic up, bro. We recording. So you know, he posted yesterday. He posted a picture of me. Well, one was a picture of one of my ex bitches took of me at her house in the jungles. The other one was a video he got off of my YouTube. I'm feeding 700 people hot barbecue on downtown LA on Skid Row, barbecued on Labor Day to feed the people. That's the name of the thing through my charity. Everybody go donate to Active Chuck's charitable org. It's on Instagram, type it in, 2 S's on the Chuck, or just Google it and you'll be able to find ways to donate so we can keep that going. He went through, what kind of man goes through a video and see another man eating an icicle in 90-degree weather under the barbecue grill?
That nigga got wet. That nigga got wet while he was eating the popsicle.
Oh, man, I feel violated, man. Hey, look, Wack100, I don't swing on that side of the fence, my nigga. Stop playing with me like that, boy. He's a boy.
Hey, you know I got fire up, man, but I ain't gonna mess up your live, so I'm going incognito.
Okay, that's what's up. Hey, we on Clubhouse. Kev, anybody got some feedback or something they want to say? We got about 4 more minutes before we get into the next one.
Yo, the floor is open, y'all. I was just gonna jump in and just say that shit sound crazy. That it's the shit that he pull every time, and it just keeps getting exposed. So let's keep it rolling. Anybody got any questions on the stage, y'all? I ain't got no question, but I told y'all a long time ago, watch out for that snake in the grass and that snake.
Man, you did tell me that. And what I tell you, I said, bro, I'm just out of respect to him being a Damu, trying to keep it copacetic. I don't want no problems with nobody. He just kept following. The man's a stalker. Yeah. But look, so that was part 1. Anybody else got any statements that's on the stage?
I'm just gonna say that I think he heard you got some thick fingers like me.
Oh yeah, I think my fingers. I think my fingers a little bit thicker, right? I don't want it, nigga. I'm not applying. Yeah, I'm not applying, my nigga. You know, if you pitch, you'll catch. You understand? So let me stop before they flag us. Oh yeah, well we ain't. Oh, he might be. I've been contemplating it. Let him keep playing them whole game. But look, we go on the video too, because it's get a little bit more expensive. Hold on. Let me pause this. Go back to stream, y'all. You know I ain't that good with this shit. We don't be going live and shit. We be on Clubhouse. Hey, stop putting my business out there, brother. You know what I'm saying? Share screen. You know, we live right now. You can't be exposing me on my own show, brother. Part 2. I'm technologically illiterate. Fuck it, y'all figured it out.
Hey, you don't gotta share the screen every time, right? If you already got the video downloaded, just click on the little plus symbol and upload the video.
Well, we already on it. I don't want to go through all that. Let's go.
Go for it. I don't see it.
You don't see it?
Uh-uh.
Can you see it?
Nope.
Let me stop it. Make sure everybody can see this motherfucker. I don't know how you can't see it. Let me see. Go back to StreamYard one more time. Oh, it was showing that everybody could see it, bro. You just couldn't see it.
Saying, yeah, I don't know why I can't see it, but yeah, I couldn't see it.
Hey, put a 1 if y'all was able to see that. Yeah, they're able to see it, bro.
Yeah, it's coming up now. Yeah, it's coming up now. There you go.
Okay.
Yo, it's stuff for the Cloud Chaser TV, man.
Previously in part 1, we found out from Mafia Boss, also known as Stutterbox, a Main Street Mafia crip and Wack100's neighbor, that Wack100 or CS2 Beck got his house raided for getting caught on a wiretap on a conspiracy to commit murder.
What is it exactly you want to clear out? And I clear it out, however it got to go.
On the video, when you said something about conspiracy to murder, what actually did you hear on audio of Wack100 that the feds had, but haven't charged him for conspiring to murder?
His house got raided because he was on the wiretap. But dog, you know, he allegedly gave dog my address, homie. If I get killed, whoever gave him my address gonna get conspiracy to murder. But if I don't get killed, they just get conspiracy to attempted murder because they shot up my Rolls Royce, put 17 holes in my Rolls Royce.
Let's play Stutterbox talking to Wack. This is what I'm trying to figure out, though, Box. Help me understand this, because me and you both know that whole case was your thing. What is Mark saying I had to do with the case, bro?
Wack, listen, in the paperwork, it said you tried to call dog, remember?
I tried to
and he
call
won't take
dog.
your call. I said it to you. Saying he didn't talk to you.
Y'all said it's low?
Dog said he was cool. He didn't want to talk to you in the paperwork.
Mark
That's what
tried
you said is going off of what
that whole Main Street shit, that was your play. I had nothing to do with it. I was a victim.
Because they said when dog called you.
Let me see. Can y'all hear it?
On your line.
No.
And you play. That's what they say, Wack.
No.
As you can see by now in this first part, Stutterbox clearly implicates Wack100 into this case, not only in an interview with Duse M and Stats 280, but also right to Wack's face on the recorded phone call. In part 2 of this video, let's take a look at the actual paperwork from the case, which exposes...
Yeah, it sounds low. We gonna go to the original video. Let me turn this off. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that like button. Share, tell a friend. We cooking right now. Matter of fact, we're going to play this video, and then I'm just going to start breaking this shit down to the very last compound. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to this one with Greg Kading. Speaking of rats, right?
Damu Kiwe conversations.
Shout out to my brother, Scandalous Los Angeles TV. Hey, if nobody gonna be in the sweatshop getting slave driven, Scandalous gonna be in that sweatshop with me, man. Salute to my brother. Let's go.
Today, we're going to let you guys hear what Greg Kading has to say about CS2 Beck. You're going to hear Greg attempt to shield his confidential source, but you're also going to hear him place Wack directly in the CS2 driver's seat. I'll interject a little throughout the interview, just to point out a few things. Other than that, I'm going to just let it play. Tell me in the comment section what you think. Now, Greg, this isn't about you. This is about Wack. I understand you have to do what you got to do, but if he can bring you on Clubhouse to tell us all that stuff, I feel I should be able to ask some questions so the people can be informed. So again, this has nothing to do with you. This is about Wack.
Yeah, I get it. No, and again, I'm not trying to get in the middle of whatever bullshit is going on between Wack and whatever bullshit's going on with Starbucks. I don't give a fuck about that beef. Whatever it is, they'll figure it out. I'm just going to tell you investigatively, we would have listed Wack, Cash Jones, in our paperwork. He would have been like target 1, and his phone would have been target 1. And so when we were looking at him, we used particular language in our paperwork. So if we're writing the wiretap affidavit for his phone, we would say Cash Jones, also known as Wack. You were utilizing target number, whatever, which would be his phone. I think it was some 661 phone number. And that's just the language. Nowhere within the paperwork
related to the investigation of Cash Jones, related to the investigation of Cash Jones, related to the investigation of Cash Jones, was he ever mentioned as a CS or an informant? Because he wasn't.
Okay. Now, Greg, we're talking about the case Stutterbox had against Shaquille O'Neal and the 7 Main Street Crips. When Wack brought you on Clubhouse, he asked you what would he have been referred to as in the paperwork.
And then in your paperwork, I don't know. How was I referred to? Was I referred to Wack, Cash Jones? They have this Back name. I don't know who the fuck Back is. I don't know. I know I've never had that moniker, but I don't know. Maybe.
Now, mind you, Wack100 then brought this retired LAPD officer who was a deputized DEA agent on the Joint Task Force investigating the Biggie Smalls and Tupac murder investigation. He is also the same deputized federal officer who helped Sheriff's Deputy Paul Fournier and Detective Coet federalize the Main Street Mafia Crip investigation because they didn't know how to do that. You want to know how? I'm going to show you proof that they federalized that Main Street, I just heard Wack100 on Reggie Wright Jr. Bomb First podcast reacted to our shit, and somebody paid money to say, well, could you tell these dodos that this case was a state case and it wasn't a federal case? Bro, it was initially a state case, but then it was federalized, and they took Del Dog ass to MDCLA, 2009, 2010. You want to know how I know? Because I went back there when I got re-indicted, nigga. So, yeah, y'all niggas need to pay attention. Let's go.
It was some coded shit, or how did you recall referring to me through all the paperwork when you guys were like listening in on my wiretaps, so like saying, okay, this is Wack, this is Cash Jones on the wiretap. What was I referred to in your because I've never looked over that paperwork, never had a need to. What was I referred to?
If Wack had nothing to do with Del Dog, Shaq, or any of the Main Street Crips, why would his name be being referred to in the paperwork at all?
So again, this is completely different investigation. We have to be real careful that we don't cross over these ideas, because when I said he would have been mentioned in the paperwork, if we're talking about Cash Jones's case, then we may have mentioned a CS, which would have been Stutterbox, saying these things about Cash that we investigated. There's that. Now, if Cash is asking me if his name was in the Main Street case, no, it wasn't. Now, if Cash is asking me if his name was in the Main Street case, no, it wasn't.
So we all know that Greg is not being truthful when he says that. We can clearly see Wack's government name, Cash Jones, all in this case. Hey, Christopher Loves Boys, this shows you why you can't believe everything the police say. This also shows you that the police are protecting Wack, as they would any other confidential informant that's in good standing with them, unlike Stutterbox. But I want you to hear what Greg says right after he said Wack was not in the Main Street case at all.
There was no mention of Cash in the Main Street case. There was no mention of Cash in the Main Street case, other than when he's trying to get a hold of Mark Stevens and in order to tell him that Box has been compromised.
Yeah, and that's what the wiretap transcript said CS2 Back, or Wack, was calling Del Dog to do. Not Del Dog, but Mark Stevens.
See what you just did, though?
Yeah, I said Del Dog.
You said CS2 Wack. It doesn't say that, does it?
Yes, it does.
Doesn't it say CS2 Back?
Yes, it says CS2 Back.
Okay, well, do you know what you just said?
What did I say?
CS2 Wack.
I meant CS2 Back.
Because in your mind, and bear with me, no offense here, but I think you've already come to the conclusion that Back is Wack, and that's why that's such an easy mistake to make.
Well, the reason I think Wack is CS2 Back is because that's who Mark Stevens said he was talking to.
Nobody's disputing that. Nobody's disputing that Mark Stevens is saying that Wack is who he was talking to.
But he's saying that that's Back. He is saying that Back is Wack.
How does Mark Stevens put that together? Show me how Mark Stevens has anything to substantiate that Back is Wack.
In the paperwork they put him as Back. B-A.
How did I make up? Because this is what Wack is arguing, that I went and made fake paperwork. How am I making up fake paperwork when you hear Detective Greg Kading referring to and talking about who Back is? CS2 Back, CS2 Back. Wack is claiming I added CS2 Back to the paperwork and made some fake paperwork. How, when the police detective is acknowledging and is going to clarify, doesn't the paperwork say CS2 Back? Well, Wack say Duse M when it added some back shit to it. So just pay attention.
CK. And I kept asking the lawyer, like, who the fuck is, I ain't talked to no Back. And they said, nah, that's
we don't
Wack.
fuck with that weirdo.
They put him as Back because of your blood. So it's Back. I said, oh, okay.
And was this Back also referred as confidential source number 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so no offense to Mark, he doesn't know any better. But when we're writing official police reports, we don't play the game. We don't change language or change spelling because we are, part of the gang culture. We're not going to put Wack. We're going to put Back because he's a blood, not a Crip, and we don't. That's not how we operate. We don't. That's gang shit. We don't write as gangsters. We write as police officers and try to be as specific as possible.
Greg is saying they try to be as specific as possible, and that they don't do things like that. But we're all looking at a wiretap transcript where they did exactly that. They put a person named Back in the paperwork, and no one knows who Back is.
We don't change things in order to. So if Mark Stevens is thinking that, oh man, the cops just put this in there this way because he's a blood, not a Crip, it's not how it works.
I hear you, Greg. But even without them doing that, the conversation with Mark Stevens and Del Dog did actually take place. And Mark Stevens is saying the person who called him looking for Del Dog's phone number was Wack. Mark said he doesn't know anyone named Back. So why would they put some fake person that Mark has never ever talked to in the transcripts?
No, I get that. See, we are totally in agreement. The conversation is Wack, obviously. The conversation is Wack.
So the conversation is Wack, obviously. The conversation is Wack. So we know
obviously
for a fact this is Wack.
But this explanation of Wack being Back, there's nothing to substantiate that other than.
Now I'm going to pause right here because I want to make sure you guys didn't miss what just happened. I told Greg that Mark Stevens said he doesn't know anyone named Back. So I asked Greg why would they put somebody in the paperwork that Mark Stevens doesn't know and has never ever spoken to in his life.
Didn't know none of this before.
I'm going to play it again so you can hear how he evades my question. I hear you, Greg. But even without them doing that, the conversation with Mark Stevens and Del Dog did actually take place. And Mark Stevens is saying the person who called him looking for Del Dog's phone number was Wack. Mark said he doesn't know anyone named Back. So why would they put some fake person that Mark has never ever talked to in the transcripts?
No, I get that. See, we are totally in agreement. The conversation is Wack, obviously. The conversation is Wack, obviously. But this explanation of Wack being Back, there's nothing to substantiate that other than a misunderstanding of how the police write reports or a misunderstanding of a lawyer. Because I'm telling you, and I don't know how much more I can emphasize this, Cash Jones was not an informant on the Main Street case.
I'm with you on that. But you're agreeing that in the transcripts we have, it's Wack that Mark and Del are talking about in the conversation they're having, right?
Yes. And
I think Wack admits that. And I think Wack admits that. But this whole thing with Wack, you know, it would have just been CS2.
Hit that like button.
Typically just left alone. CS2, because the investigators all know who CS2 is.
But in a wiretap, aren't they supposed to type exactly what they hear the person say?
But that's not what you're reading. You're not reading. Pardon me. So the conversation is there. You can see the conversation, right?
Right. And they're using his name as they're talking. The boy back wants your phone number. The person who transcribed the wiretap is typing that Mark is saying back. But Mark is saying that he was not saying back. He was saying Wack. And you already agreed that these guys are talking about Wack right here, but it's just using the name back until the last paragraph. In the last paragraph, Mark Stevens actually says the Wack boy.
Okay, so he's talking about Wack. There is no back. There is no back. That's all I can say.
So there you have it. Greg Kading says Del Dog and Mark Stevens are talking about Wack in the wiretap transcripts, and at the same time he is saying Wack isn't back. He said there is no back. When I asked him why would they put the name of some fake person in the paperwork, who Mark Stevens didn't know, he didn't answer me. Hey, somebody hit Compton Rick Rock up and tell him that he should remix that Ain't No Bumpton joint. Tell him to name the remix Ain't No Back. Because Greg Kading said there's no back. If Greg is saying there is no back, but the conversation being had in the wiretap is about Wack, then this shouldn't read CS2 back. It should actually say CS2 Wack. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
CS2 Wack. There is no back. Well, doesn't it say CS2 back? Yeah, if it says CS2 back, then how are you saying that there is no back? It's saying CS2. So it's talking about a confidential source who is working on this wiretap trying to line Del Dog and Mark Stevens up on the call. This is after Robert Ross was kidnapped. But let's get into this. It's time to cook, man. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. I'll call her back. Boom. Let's get to this now, right?
Damu Kiwe. Conversations.
Hit that like button. Let's go. I like y'all to hear him live. Because once he take a position, he got to stay there. Let's go.
Took place. We're going to play off both sides of the audio. We got two different stories. So hopefully you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who's telling the truth? Let's get right into this audio. And also, please subscribe if you can. Let's drop this audio. I'm going to play Stutterbox first.
Check something, but you always got to be thinking, man, before you open your mouth, especially if you really thinking about moving, you feel me? It should be silence and violence. You know, I want to speak on this dude keep kicking my name. I told this I'm a drowning homie on Main Street. I'm a drown cuz. Let me tell you how I meet this clown, man. It's all in my paperwork, man. Say box, the Shugs won't put me on, homie. I've been with this dude for a couple years. I said, all right, homie. Since you my neighbor, I'ma fuck with you. Beg me to put him with game. Beg me to put him with Chuck. Holla at Chuck for me, Box. Holla at Reggie for me, Box. They both told me 6 times, no, no, no. So I say, homie, they don't want to fuck with you. Box, they'll do it for you if you tell them to do it for you. Okay, homie. Chuck, do it for me, man. And if Cuz up, I'll come over there and move Cuz out your camp myself. Chuck said, Box, you got me? I said, Cuz, I got you. Changed Cuz' life, man. He ain't look back. In the meantime, I'm going through some politicking with my neighborhood. You know, not finna kick no names. Rest in peace to the G homie. You ain't saved no homies, homie. You ain't changed my daughter diaper. My
My son don't call you. He just took a deal for 11 years. He on his way home. Don't nobody respect you. You are J. Edgar Hoover, you know, in trans. You the police. What really f me up is why I decided to let this buster know I know what he did, right? Call me one day and say, Box, I'm out of my truck. Where you at? I said, I'm at home, homie. He say, they own my wife at the mall. Look out for me. I grabbed the blicky, smash up there. I see his wife coming out the driveway. I see some dudes. They most likely probably trying to holler at her. I don't know, right? But they disrespecting her movements. So I get them up off of them. I ain't gonna say what I did, but I got this up off of her. Fast forward, I'll get to some gangster shit. Me and my baby mama put like 20 holes in my Rolls Royce. See, but where I'm from, this old buster in the valley, since hanging around me, he know a few people I know. He trying to reach out to them behind my back to give them my address, because we stay across the street from each other, like catty corner. This damn near 20 years ago though. Keep kicking my name, infatuated after 20 years. Wack, you know I'm gonna drown you on Main Street. I'm gonna drown you first chance I get. I can see how, no disrespect to Nip, cuz, but I can see how I drown him, then turn back and kick him in their face on Main Street. But anyway, I call Wack. My Rolls Royce gets shot up. My girl almost I lay on top of her. We make it up out of there. Wack see the bullet holes in my car the next day. He reaching out, trying to contact the who supposed to be the boogeyman. I know where to live at, behind my back. It's in the paperwork, all on wiretap. That's why your house got raided. You conspiracy to commit murder, you buster. But let me tell you how it play out. I call cuz, like, cuz, it's 3 sitting in front of your house, cuz. Is these your homies, Wack? Oh, no, Box, I know who that is. I jet fuel out the house with the fully. Probably almost shot each other trying to pull off. You feel me? If I know what I knew now, I would have jumped over their car, cuz, ran across the lawn, kicked in Wack door, and cuz, on Main Street, on Mafia. You's a buster, you the police, you got the homie. You know, every real that came into your life, me first, you crossed me. Big U second, you crossed him. Wacko, you crossed him. You talk about Game behind his back. You talk about Lil Jon behind his back. You talk about Ray J. It's like, you know, like Malcolm has said, when a chicken come home to roost, it's all mafia, cuz. It's all mafia. Police, the first code of conduct is you don't talk to the police. You is the police. Officer Wack, snitch 100.
All right, before we get into Wack's response, which again took place on Clout Monsters, salute to Clout Monsters and what T Money is doing with that clubhouse room. But this, these are some pretty wild accusations. What do y'all think about that? Is Stutterbox telling the truth? Stutterbox making heavy accusations, saying that he's the one solely responsible for changing Wack100's life, for introducing him to the game, introducing him to Ray J, and we all know what Wack did with those introductions. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let's get right into Wack's response.
For Jerome.
Yeah.
Snowfall.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Remember
yeah,
the scene
yeah.
where Uncle Jerome pulled up in the Rolls Royce and he went into police and started telling about it as moving dope on the truck. And remember they went and showed him putting the tracker on the truck and they pulled it over and all he had was magazines in the back?
Yeah.
Uncle Jerome is Stutterbox and the truck is Wack. That really happened. Go to the chapter called Stutterbox. You're going to see a picture of me, him, shit. The police that all these snitches work for, when he retired, he exposed them all. Keefe D from Compton, Crip. He exposed all his informants. So that's the picture in the book in my PTR. That's that one. That's that my brother. Me, Suge, and that Stutterbox to the left. They gonna break down everything he did. And like, yeah, out of nowhere, he came in, gave us this man's name, told us he had a trucking company. If you want to get to Suge, you got to go through him. They spent $300,000-$400,000 wires, tracking devices, all kind of shit. They came into my crib. I lost a dog that day. My dog Wacko, one of my bulls. When I hit the back gate, he locked on it like 7-8 times. He came in, cuffed my wife. It was like 48. Couldn't find. She had to walk up out of here. He sent him. He had a moment. They thought they were gonna find something in the house. He didn't find nothing. I still didn't know what time it was. Let me tell you what I knew what time it was. When they come in, they hit my home office. They was searching about 18 minutes. When they got to the home office, dude called the search off. It was one of their reasons why they went in front of the judge. They filed some called living beyond my means, which kind of supported their probable cause.
So this dumbass nigga over here talking to them, and he talking about the reason that the Joint Task Force with the sheriff's, LAPD, and federal agencies got probable cause was because he was living beyond his means, which is not even a crime. This nigga is a cold liar. Why are you lying about this? Nigga ratted on his own brother, straight clown. Wack should get us the report of his dog being shot. Man, that nigga ain't gonna bring no paperwork from none of this. Man, they told me they can't give it to me because whatever he said, it relates to an ongoing murder case.
Along with their confidential informant that they paying, he's a reliable source. So they watching the lifestyle. So when he come into the crib and he hit the home office, he sees, well, actually, let me rewind. On paper, Cass Jones make $30,000-$40,000 a year. That's it. As a Social Security number, I don't make no money. So they looking at everything and they like, this don't add up. But what they failed to do was run everything. So when they hit that home office and they seen all these different corporations and they seen these cars under this corporation, these houses under this corporation, this under this, he then knew everything was justified on my side. Call my attorney. We go down to the federal building off of Wilshire and Sepulveda, whatever that is down there. Now this is when I knew what time it was. When I go up to the 50th or 60th floor, ain't nothing but FBI flak jackets walking around. About 2 months, maybe about a month or two prior to this happening at my crib, Stutterbox invited me to this spot called Stevie's on the Strip, soul food restaurant. So when I get there, it's 2 females there, right? Most people move a certain way. So when I get there, it's him, it's 2 chicks at the table. I sit at the table. What up, Box? What you need me for? Oh, man, nigga, just, get you out the house, hang out a little bit. 2 women, 2 of my homegirls, this, that, and other. I said, oh, okay. Yeah, how y'all doing? About 5 minutes, he said, I'm finna go to the bathroom. When he go to the bathroom, the chick start popping. She telling me she from New Orleans. She came out here to buy 5 keys, all this. So when Box come back, I tell him I gotta go to the bathroom. So I make my way to the bathroom. Instead of making the left, I make a hard right to valet. I get on up out of there. When I got to the 60th floor, T-Money, guess who I saw the FBI flak jacket? So I say, damn, that's the same. So by now my antennas go up like, damn. I'm saying this Box would have fed and don't even know it. This one, I still ain't know what time it is, right? So we get into the conference room. They got like 7, 8 feds. Whoever they little leader mother is, whatever y'all call him. I'm sitting down, me and my attorney going,
wait, where did he get to? Hold on, let's back that up. Hey, like Kevin Hart said, you can't just say nothing that quick like that and just keep going like we ain't gonna get that. So once you on the 64th floor of the FBI headquarters, 6 to 8 feds.
When Box come back, I tell him I gotta go to the bathroom. So I make my way to the bathroom. Instead of making the left, I make a hard right to valet. I get on up out of there. When I got to the 60th floor, T-Money, guess who I saw the FBI flak jacket? So I say, damn, that's the same. So by now my antennas go up like, damn. I'm saying this Box would have fed and don't even know it. This one, I still ain't know what time it is, right? So we get into the conference room.
So him and his lawyer get to the conference room where all these feds is at.
They got like 7, 8 feds, whoever they little leader mother is, whatever y'all call him. I'm sitting down, me and my attorney going crazy. We filing a lawsuit, harassment. Y'all embarrassed my client. He lives in a gated community. He can't live there anymore. Homeowners Association is filing complaints against him because you guys came the way you came as neighbors.
Upper
frowning upon him.
room,
We playing for the bag, right? So they turned off the thing. They like, well, our confidential informant has said
So they turned off the thing, the recorder. He done waived his Miranda rights. I thought you don't never talk to the police. But he's waived his Miranda rights, and all of a sudden, in the midst of their conversations, they turn off the recorder.
Yeah, you moving drugs for Suge Knight. Said moving drugs for Suge Knight. I don't understand this math. I know the world is changing. We got the LGBTQ community going on. They moving at a rapid rate. Are we getting to a point that that get told on? You got a video of it that told on me and 7 of his homies. And that's supposed to do what to me? Help me understand. I'm just trying to understand. These was on contract getting checks for 7, 8, 9 years. And these was real gangster type, get money type. This is why, bro, I don't give a fuck about whatever your persona is. These are drop you off at midnight, get down the street, get pulled over, bumped up. And by the time they see you the next day, 12 noon, them got a whole nother job and a whole nother piece added to their wardrobe called a wire.
What do y'all think about Wack?
And a wire. Nasty work. He ain't lying about that. Because that's what he was trying to do to Dale Dog in there. You know what I'm saying? On that paperwork, old CS2 back. But
I'm telling right now.
So we dropped the documentary, and on World Star Hip Hop, it go viral. Salute, free Big U, man, free Big U. You know what I'm saying? Collaboration. That was our first business strategic alliance, and CS2 back had his agents have lawyers take it down. And they even probably bribed the lawyer that I hired, paid money to, and who was going to handle the case, because we're suing World Star Hip Hop. We're going to sue YouTube, and we're going to sue Cash Jones, right? Because he claimed my intellectual property. So for direct copyright infringement. But the attorney dragged her feet, gave me problems, all kind of stuff, ended up giving me the retainer back, because she doesn't have time to handle the case. I believe that they got at her. It's a direct loss, and this investigation's going on. But listen to what CS2 Back said when we had dropped the World Star Hip Hop viral video.
I told them niggas, I said, yeah, tell on Mark Stevens we need $5 million. I settled for $2 million. We're going to run him up. That's why when I said I hope the big fella, because the bigger box said they trying to get stacked.
So Stutterbox told them that they trying to get Shaq. Let's play that again.
Told them niggas, I said, yeah, tell on Mark Stevens we need $5 million. I settled for $2 million. We're going to run him up. That's why when I said I hope the big fella, because the bigger box said they trying to get stacked to go along with it. I said, Shaq. He said, yeah, but Shaq saying, man, me and Wack always been cool. Wack can help me out. I ain't want to have nothing to do with none of this shit. I said, boy, please let that nigga say something. Oh, niggas, I'm going 50 million in. That's a payday. He said, they didn't think that to think you would come civil on them, and now
Garrett Crawford said he probably
Mark
that's exactly what happened.
Ain't even answering their calls. Right? So I let them file all this shit. Booyah, I count them with that. Booyah. And now I play your homeboy talking about you. Now, there's no doubt in our mind who he talking about. He done exposed that another nigga, AD. We ain't talking about Compton AD. He talking about 60 AD. He said, you got work on you. He said, developing options. Right? He said, your name. He said, all the shit. See, they never ever consider it.
All right, we can cut that off. We don't even need that, right? But he said he gonna sue Mark Stevens. What happened to you suing Mark Stevens? Huh? You know that's where that bag at, right?
I'm waiting on my lawyer to get the rest of that money from you. I'm about to get the bag. So what I'm doing is I'm waiting on the lawyer to get the bag. Bop, bop, bop. Then once we get that, we going after the big guy. See, I was trying to
Who is the big
deviate.
guy?
I mean, the big guy is shot.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that. So that's what he was talking about when he said Statterbox is saying that they're trying to get the big guy to come expose him.
Barrett. Yeah, that's Barrett. So look,
Wack know that you CS2 back.
Barrett. That's right. That's Barrett. So look, when I go get the paperwork and then I tell my lawyer, I say, listen, we gonna get the $5 million. We gonna get the bigger bag. I need the bigger bag because I need a bigger BBL because my BBL.
You need a new BBL CS2 bag. That's nasty work, bro. That nigga said, I need a bigger bag so I can get a new filler in my BBL. I never seen a gangster so proud of getting told on by another gangster, and instead of putting in work on them, you continue in the friendship years later. Yeah, that's nasty work, man. Nasty work. You know, but that's his comfort zone. You know, one thing about known informants and rats, not too many people want to, especially street niggas, want to deal with them, right? So you get a nigga like Wack where he feel he adds value there. He been a loser his whole life. So let's go to this real quick, since we cooking now. So Statterbox had made a allegation that Wack100 gave up his address, which would be conspiracy to attempted murder. They shot 18 times, wetting up his Rolls Royce. Well, let's get into that real quick because right here, Wack even admits no one else knew where Statterbox lived. Let's go. Y'all can't hear.
Look like my son, know your son.
Hey, Yah L, here. This is a classic one.
My homies don't know where I'm at. I be out the way. Boom, boom, boom. My kids, look like my son, know your son. So, you know, let's keep this shit cordial amongst us. Whatever them niggas got going on, they got going on. Nobody never knew that. And to each other, listen, my homies don't know where I'm at. I be out the way. Boom, boom, boom. My kids, look like my son, know your son. So, you know, let's keep this shit cordial amongst us. Whatever them niggas got going on, they got going on. Nobody never knew that. And to each other, listen, my homies don't know where I'm at. I be out the way.
So there it goes. Wack admitting that Statterbox told him none of his homies know where he lived. They live cat-a-corner to each other. They're neighbors, right? In a gated community. And these dudes come try to knock him down. How did they get the low? He said that the wiretap showed that Wack100 was called. That's one of the reasons Wack100 was calling Del Dog so he could get Box knocked down, right? Now, mind you, let's get into this a little bit because, you know, putting in all of these indictments and stuff, right? Box and CS2 back go to All-Star Weekend, right? And this was the All-Star Weekend in Vegas, right? Shaq does the break dance in the middle of the floor. He throws a party out there, him, Money Mark. We can show y'all some visuals of that also. But let's get into this real quick.
This, that, and other. He like, nigga, I got All-Star Weekend roll with me out there. I said, I'll come to that.
Hold on, let's start it off.
My own just tried to do this, that, and other. He like, nigga, I got All-Star Weekend roll with me out there. I said, I'll come the next day. I'll pull up on you. I'll never forget I had that burgundy plum 500, 550 Benz. Back then we was one of these niggas, my own just tried to do this, that, and other. He like, nigga, I got all.
All right, so we can shut that one down. So now they going to All-Star Weekend, and I'll show some pictures to help y'all remember the time frame. You know what I'm saying? Then, boom, let's get to this. the brother in the bottom when he said he was going to the upper conference room on the FBI headquarters, the brother in the chat said he proffered, and that was a real smart conclusion because that's exactly what happened. He had to waive his Miranda rights to be having that kind of conversation. Him and his lawyer in the FBI building. They want something. Mind you, this is 2 days after they raided his house. So how do you know that they proffered? Damn, I don't even see who it is. Who said that they proffered in the chat? Please jump in the chat before I play this, because I want to make sure. I don't want to have to look for it, but I want to make sure I give credit where credit was due on who's keeping up with what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I guess nobody want to claim credit for it. All right, let's get to it then. I ain't gonna hold y'all up. Hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? Don't be stingy. So here in that conference room, listen to 2 days after they raided Wack house. Look what the federal task force with the flat FBI flapjackets on and stuff tell Wack100 and his lawyer.
Dude says, well, we still got your client on 2 different situations. He like, is that right? We'll put him on the table. We walking out of here, right? So first situation.
Oh, Gary Crawford.
He said, well, we found firearms
I know
in
it
the
was
house.
you.
He's an ex-convict felon. He can't be around firearms, right? So I stopped my attorney. I said, well, you ain't found no.
So 2 days after they raid your house, they and stopping at your truck, right? You're going with your lawyer to pick up your things, is what you say, but it ends up going. You end up in a conference room with 7 to 8 FBI agents, and you sit down with your lawyer. They're recording, and you guys are talking, which means you waived your Miranda rights. You waived your Miranda rights, and they're telling you, we got your client on 2 things. And the first thing is weapons charges. And not one gun, but more than one. Firearms. Pay attention.
Dude says, well, we still got your client on 2 different situations. He like, is that right? We'll put him on the table. We walking out of here, right? So first situation, he said, well, we found firearms in the house. He's an ex-convict felon. He can't be around firearms, right? So I stopped my attorney. I said, well, you ain't found no firearms in my house. He said, yes, we did. These firearms and such and such. I said, well, I ain't never seen them firearms in my life. He said, well, they registered to your wife. I said, well, what they got to do with me? He said, well, that's your wife. I said, okay, well, what they got to do with me? He said, well, you live in a home. I said, you can't prove I live in that home. Right? What, you got some cars that's registered to a corporation? Matter of fact, I said, can I go in my back pocket? I pull my wallet out. I slide my wallet. What's this? That's where I live. I've been a resident of Oklahoma since 2003. I got 13 houses on my portfolio. Which one you gonna put me in?
So Wack100 is insulting our intelligence again. They telling him, we got him, his lawyer, we got your client on 2 situations. Oh yeah? Well, what is it? Firearms. He's an ex-felon and he can't have them. Wack is throwing his wife under the bus, saying that they registered to hers. But listen to how many guns it is. We're gonna listen one more time because I want y'all to hear how many guns it is. Firearms, plural. firearms, plural. These firearms, not this firearms. They registered to your wife. So clearly, this is multiple guns. The feds then told him they got multiple guns found in his house during a search. But 2 days later, you come to talk to these people and you having trial in your proffer agreement. Imagine a nigga that ex-felon that they found guns in my house the day that they raided and I didn't go to jail. There's no way. They stopped your truck the same time they executed this search warrant, which was April 25th, 2008. And when they stopped your trunk and they found those guns inside your house, that they didn't book you. So when we play this video and you hear Detective Michael Coet, the sheriff deputy, partners with Paul Fournier, as they were the leads in the Deja 34 investigation, and they say only one person who they arrested was Cash Jones. The police ain't lying or mistaken. That's very clear. The only one that they arrested was Cash Jones. We got a super chat. James Trepasse, $5 super chat. Wack100 is a trip. How can someone act hard when they like getting backdoor knuckle sandwiches? Shaking my head.
We'll appreciate that, James. What's his name? James
Trepasse.
Trepasse. Well, James Trepasse, anything and everything that is given to the Damu Kiwe Conversation team, it's highly appreciated, man. Blessings to you, your family, and your tribe. Backdoor knuckle sandwiches is diabolical, bro. I ain't never heard of no shit.
Yeah, but I already know what he likes, so that was a unique way, original way to say it without really perving us out right now. You know what I'm saying? With visuals, you know, they can really sicken a brother if they say the wrong words. You know what I'm saying? So then Wack100, in the middle of this proffer agreement, wants us to believe that them ain't my guns, and I don't live in that house, right? But remember, he going to go get his property that was taken in the raid at his house, right? And I don't live there. How you gonna prove that I live there? Well, let me show you how simple it is. First of all, before the feds hit there, they cross their T's and dot their I's. That's just what they do. And also, it's public record. This is the deed to the house that was raided, right? You see the address? Let's go to the other page where you can actually see the address. Oh, y'all couldn't see it. All right, well, I'm going to make sure y'all can see it right now. Let's go like this. You know what I'm saying? Let me blow this up for y'all. Y'all see that address? Y'all see that name? This is the deed to the house. The deed, grant deed. Y'all see this? Cash McElroy Jones and Kimberly Jones. Nasty work, huh? With his signature at the bottom. So, but you want us to believe, see, he insults your intelligence so bad, right? You want us to believe that once the people's told you that that they got you on weapons charges, that you held trial in the upper conference room of FBI headquarters, and they just didn't have this information at the ready. Like, this information wasn't probably part of the affidavit requesting the warrant to execution of a warrant at your house, in your vehicles, in your 18-wheeler, your diesel. You just think that they just come unprepared. Like you talking about Barney Fife or something. The Andy Griffith Show. Nah, nigga, this the FBI. Very thorough. Very, very thorough. So, let's get back to the work. So now he got firearms, right? That was one of the issues. Oh, you got issues. So this is on the conference, in the upper conference room, and they tell him he got 2 issues. So you got the guns, you try to insult our intelligence and lie to us about that. And then the feds tell you after that, you got another issue, brother. Brother.
Second thing they had against me, they press play, wiretap. This is why I know when I hear certain wiretaps was conspiracy, how they get you. They got me on the phone. Said, yeah. All right, what you got? Said, we got a special move. Where's it coming from? Down by National City, down by Tijuana, Mexico. Yeah. All right. It's gonna be kind of heavy, but it'll pay you 23,000 one way. Where's it going? Seattle area, Seattle, Bellevue, Tacoma, multiple stops. Get it to them before they close. And I was you straight. All right, no problem. I'll be down there to get it.
You chilling with the answers.
So they turned off the thing. They like, well, our confidential informant has said you moving drugs for Suge Knight. I said moving.
So now they got him on wiretap. And this is the feds in the conference room after he was arrested on the Friday. He done probably had to bail out, told them that, and told his lawyer that he wanted to meet with them. He got to get out of jail. So that he's going to cooperate. Now he's down at FBI headquarters meeting with his lawyer in a conference room, and they're telling him what they got on. They're recording, which means this is a proffer session, right? Queen for a day. I always knew this nigga was a bitch, nigga. What man wants to be a queen for a day? J. Edgar Hoover in drag. You know what I'm saying? This is what we dealing with. Now they got a wiretap. So what does he do? He insults our intelligence again, and he wants us to believe that he talked his way out and had a preliminary hearing or even a trial with these federal agents and explained his way out of a wiretap. Like the feds aren't going to know who's on the other end. Like the feds aren't going to make sure it's a controlled buy or that it's an informant on the other end of the line baiting you in to make sure they got you on wiretap doing some drugs. And the crazy thing, I believe that the one that baited him in wasn't the informant. I think it was the FBI lady. Remember he said Box took him to Stevie's on the strip, and he had the 2 females with him, and one was a bad Creole sister from Louisiana. She said she need her plug went dry. She came out to get 5 keys and this and this and that. And now she's up there. When you go up to the upper conference room, Wack100 proffered. And I know a lot of people might not believe it. You can argue it. I understand how that process goes. I've read enough paperwork. I've ran enough niggas up top. He's saying he was on probation or parole at the time of the raid, but yet still when they come to the house, he tells police that his residence in Oklahoma, it's impossible. Hey, Trill H, hey, listen, bro. I think he was trying to say that he wasn't, but I think he's lying about that anyway, and that you're 100% right. You know what I'm saying? Oh, excuse me. I believe that he was on papers and that he's just lying. So we got to that part, and then admits that he had been home. And let's get to let's see if we could get to this real quick. I think it was the oh, here we go. Wack claims that there was only one gun after I just played the audio where it was multiple guns. I guess he forgot that he lied about that part. You know what I'm saying? Even had Greg Kading come to the clubhouse and lie for him on that. Let's go.
Said they kicked in my door and found 6 guns. The police officer said right at the door and found 6 guns. And come to find out, I'm listening to these bozos. They said they kicked in my door and found 6 guns. The police officer said right here on the floor, did you find anything in my house?
Yeah.
Did we find 1 gun that was your wife's?
Yeah, easy.
There you go, guys. Wack does it.
So now he's arguing it was 1 gun. Nasty work. Nasty work. You know what I'm saying? And then he says that the other paperwork that we got, which was Detective Fournier, let's go ahead and show y'all this just for the authenticity, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think we just ran this, and I'm going to play that after, but I want y'all to see the authenticity so that y'all can see exactly what we're talking about. So, Shaq was questioning beating and kidnapping of a man by gang members. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department in 2009 investigated allegations that Shaquille O'Neal was connected to a beating, robbery, and kidnapping by gang members of a man claiming to have a sex tape of the basketball star, according to records reviewed by the LA Times. Detectives found phone records showing a flurry of calls between the alleged ringleader of the assault and O'Neal's business partner around the time of the February 2008 incident. A sheriff investigator report said. So the investigative report was done by the sheriffs, which makes all of the sense because the kidnapping, the pink dot was in West Hollywood, which would be in the jurisdiction of the West Hollywood sheriffs. O'Neal and his business partner, Mark Stevens, denied any involvement in the attack when interviewed by sheriff investigators. Neither man has been charged in the connection with this case. The victim, Robert Ross, told authorities in early interviews that he believed O'Neal was behind the attack because of a business deal gone bad. That's the Ray J deal, right? And because O'Neal believed he had a tape of the former LA Lakers center having sex with a woman other than his wife. This week, Ross testified in LA County Superior Court during a preliminary hearing for the 7 members of the Main Street Crip gang accused of kidnapping him at gunpoint from West Hollywood and beating him while demanding the videotape. The gang members face charges of kidnapping, robbery, assault with a firearm, and criminal conspiracy. Law enforcement officials Wednesday declined to say what role, if any, O'Neal and Stevens had in the incident, but early in the investigation, it was clear that detectives suspected the pair might somehow have been involved. In a July 2009 letter asking for leniency in Ross's sentencing for unrelated federal drug and firearm charges, a sheriff's captain wrote that Ross was cooperating with law enforcement as a victim and witness in a West Hollywood incident that may implicate a celebrity and apparent reference to O'Neal. The motive for the crime was retaliation by a celebrity who believed Ross was having an affair with his wife. Captain David Smith of the Sheriff's Homicide Bureau wrote, according to a copy of the letter obtained by the Times, the celebrity enlisted the help of 7 Main Street Crip gang members with extensive criminal histories to commit the kidnap, robbery, and assault. The ongoing investigation regarding the celebrity and his manager may also result in charges filed, Smith wrote at the time. On Wednesday, sheriff officials would not comment on how their investigation had progressed in the 2 years since Smith's letter or how their understanding of the motive behind the alleged kidnapping may have changed. Detective Paul Fournier, the lead investigator on the case, declined to discuss the investigation, saying the probe was ongoing. Then it goes into the whole thing, Mark Stevens, Ladell Rawls, and the whole story, Ray J. Let me get into this because it's so consistent with the paperwork. Attorney Nicholas Tonsich, who represented both Stevens and O'Neal during their interviews with sheriff investigators, did not respond to repeated requests for comment. Late Wednesday, O'Neal's management company also did not respond to requests for comment. Now, remember, Paul Fournier and Detective Coette are partners. Ross walked into the LAPD 77 Division in February 2008 with his face cut and bleeding and his clothes bloody, according to the sheriff January 2009 investigative report. He said armed Main Street Crip members whom he had grown up with and recognized kidnapped him in West Hollywood and ordered him to drive his Rolls Royce to the South Los Angeles house of Ladell Rawls, the gang's alleged shot caller. There, the gang members beat him up and took from him $15,000 in cash, a diamond necklace, and earrings, and a Rolex watch, he told investigators. During the beatings, Riles, known as Del Dog, told Ross, Mark and Shaq know who the real boss is now, and demanded the videotape and $100,000, according to the report. Ross told investigators that events leading to the kidnapping started with a business deal gone sour. Ross introduced rap artist Ray J to O'Neal and Stevens' record label, expected to receive a percentage of the profits, but was later cut out of the deal. Around the same time, O'Neal, who was having marital troubles, had his wife followed by a private investigator who took photos of her having lunch with Ross, according to the report. Ross, upset over the deal, told Stevens and O'Neal through a friend. That friend that told Mark Stevens and O'Neal that Stutterbox Robert Ross had a surveillance tape of O'Neal having sex with a woman at Ross's. I tell you his name and read that page of the paperwork after we do that. But the friend, remember friends? How many of us have them friends? Remember that. So, home in July 2007. Ross told investigators that he was bluffing to get the money he felt he was owed. The attack occurred 2 weeks later. Ross and O'Neal and Riles knew each other because he had introduced him. O'Neal funded a documentary for Riles through his record label and mentioned Riles and Ross by their gang monikers in one of his rap songs, Ross told investigators. O'Neal was interviewed by investigators in September 2008 at a locker room at the University of Southern California Galen Center. When he was told of Ross's allegation that O'Neal had ordered the kidnapping to retrieve the sex tape, O'Neal adamantly denied having been involved, according to the sheriff report. even if there had been a sex tape, he told investigators he wouldn't have cared if it was made public because he and his wife were getting a divorce. He told Stevens to pass that message to Ross, the report states. He also said he didn't believe Stevens would have been involved in any kidnapping scheme, according to the report. O'Neal said he had met several Main Street Crip members during toy donation events in South Los Angeles, but did not have a personal relationship with them. O'Neal told authorities he had severed ties with Ross about a year before the interview because of Ross's criminal troubles, believing that it would be bad for his image. Stevens, who was interviewed around the same time as O'Neal, told investigators he found out about Ross' assault 3 or 4 days after the fact from Ross' brother and another friend. Friends. So Mark Stevens is corroborating Robert Ross's story that a friend told Shaquille O'Neal and Mark Stevens that Box got this sex tape of Shaq fucking a broad that wasn't his wife, and TMZ would pay a lot of money for it. At the time of the attack on Ross, the gang members had already been under surveillance as part of an ongoing federal investigation into the Main Street Crip gang. In one wiretap phone conversation 6 months after the attack, Rouse told Stevens that Ross had gone sour and that police had contacted him, according to the report. Investigators also obtained phone records documenting a flurry of calls from Mark Stevens to Liddell Rawls and from Rawls to other gang members at or around the time of the kidnapping, the sheriff's report states. 2 attorneys representing defendants in the case Wednesday questioned Ross's credibility, pointing to his criminal history. Attorney Vincent J. Oliver said the prosecution's case rests solely on Ross's account. He said the fact that Ross was lying about having sex tape cast more doubt on his testimony. Rouse attorney Ronald J. Higgins disputed that his client was the shot caller in the gang and said he was a respected member of the community. So we got that. Now let's see who this friend is that when it tried to extort Shaquille O'Neal and Mark Stevens with a sex tape.
Dudes, real quick, can I read that? Is that the same?
Well, you can read it again just to be sure, because we might have missed it, bro.
James Trepaz with the $5 super chat. Wack100 is a trip. How can someone act hard when they like getting their backdoor knuckles? Oh yeah, that's
You's a sick individual. You wanted to read that again, huh?
Now I want to say this. Was it one of the words that said "I love you"?
Nasty work, bro.
I don't even know that nigga lyrics, brother.
So, I was getting to the work. I got the work. When I got the fake work, remember he said this is fake work. So that's a newspaper article, right? The media, newspaper article. And then I'm going to get to the work and I'm going to read to you the same thing, not the wiretap. I'm talking about the actual sheriff's investigative reports, right? Let me see. Let's get into it. All right, boom. What page is that? All right, bam. So this is page 1. Let's go. I want y'all to see the front of it. All right.
Damu Kiwe conversations. Bro, I don't know the lyrics to that song, bro.
So here go part of the paperwork, right? Within the next couple of months, Steven received a voicemail message from Ross stating, "I need to talk to you, man. The big fella, he's slipping. He's making a lot of mistakes." Soon after, Stephen received a call from Cash Jones. Jones told him that Ross had a videotape of Shaquille O'Neal having sex with a woman, not his wife, at Ross's home, and that Ross could take the tape to TMZ and get a lot of money. Investigators asked Stevens if Ross, Jones, or anyone else. So, then down here you see he first said he was in Las Vegas when he received the phone call from Ross's brother and Cash Jones telling him about Ross being assaulted, right? So Cash Jones isn't just in there on this case on the wiretaps as CS2 back. He's also delivered it. That was Mark Stevens' statement to the police, right? Who was still upset, had a friend named Cash Jones. Remember I was talking about it? Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. Ones you can depend on. Ross Stutterbox, who was still upset over the fact he was owed money, had a friend named Cash Jones. So Cash Jones delivered a message to Mark Stevens and Shaquille O'Neal. Jones told them that Ross had a videotape of O'Neal having sex with a woman inside of Ross's home in July 2007. The kidnapping of Robert Ross robbery took place 2 weeks after Jones delivered the message to Stevens and O'Neal. On top of that, remember I told you the name of the lead investigators that interviewed the whole Deja 34 crew as well as the Main Street Crips? Well, I have all of their statements. I just read to you Mark Stevens' statements. Right here is Robert Ross Stutterbox statement. And the police that's leading this case, Ross told investigators Fournier and Coet that he viewed the surveillance footage from the surveillance system monitor. So we know who the lead investigator was. The newspaper article helped us confirm it. We got Mark Stevens' statement. We got Stutterbox statement. We got statements from other people that were allegedly involved with this case. We got Ray J's statement. We got DJ K-Slay's statement. We got everyone who was involved with this case statement if they made one. But you know whose statement we can't find? Friends. How many of them have them? Friends. The ones you can depend on. Let's be friends. Sound like this friend was friends with the police. They made sure that we got everyone, even Stutterbox, who's a cooperating witness. We got his statement. DJ K-Slay's statement. Shaquille O'Neal, the bad. Money Mark Stevens, the agent to Stephen A. Smith today. Shaquille O'Neal, sports agent. Ron Artest, sport agent. Pac-Man Jones, sports agent. We got all of these people's statement to the investigators at Deja 34 and the Main Street Crips who were alleged to have been involved. But we can't get Cash Jones' statement. To the sheriffs, Detective Fournier and Michael Coet. Now we finna play this. I think we just got a super chat right when I was doing that. We did, y'all. You want to get that out the way while I grab this?
Yes, sir. We got another super chat. Oh, man. That one wish is trash. We got CW Rails with the $10 super chat. Random. This is random. Random. Do you think TV and cinema played a role in conditioning the public to accept snitches? Example, being Ghost from Power. C. Rails W with the $10 super chat is a blessing. Thank you. Anything and everything that is given to the Damu Kiwe Conversation team is highly appreciated. Blessings to you, your family, and your tribe. You want to elaborate, Deuce, or you want me to do?
I think you could go.
C. Rails W, I want to say this, brother. I've said this before. I've said this on a live a while ago, but I'm so glad that you reiterated that. And I believe, yes, they are making snitching acceptable, because if you look at the BMF with 50 Cent, you got what's the dude name who was snitching? I forgot.
Who you talking about? Blue the Snitchy?
Blue the Snitchy is accepted. Then when you fast forward and jump over to the Power series, you got in Raising Kanan, you got the mother who was a confidential informant, and she's the star of the show, right? And then you got whoever else was dealing with the police on the show. They make it look like it's cool, like, oh, I'll put another drug dealer in jail. I got power. This is the power I got, and I got the police, bro. We ain't never supposed to be dealing with no police on no kind of crime. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you choose to do, because they gonna put you in jail. Once they done with you, they gonna throw you to the wolves, or however they gonna do you. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
Yeah, I do believe that the media and these shows and these people are glorifying the snitches in the show. They just say it's content, it's entertainment. But what they're doing is it's a psychological manipulation into accepting these individuals into saying like they real individuals, like that's a real one. They get into the bag. That's all you see is the money. You don't see the moral compass, you know? So I 100% agree, and I do believe that they are conditioning the youth and people to accept snitches as they're doing now.
And that's Barrett. But
so hey, Barrett, that's Barrett.
Yeah. So let's get into this, and then we going for the night, man. You know what I'm saying? We not even finna show the whole video. We just want to show the part where you hear Detective Michael Coet, the lead investigator of this investigation, the same investigation we can't get Wack100 statement, the same Wack100 that went to the federal building where the task force is at. Fournier and Detective Coet were both part of the Joint Task Force, which is the Biggie Task Force, and they were trying to get information on Suge. Let's go right now. Oh, let me start back over because there's something else I want to show y'all.
Dude that spoke on Shaq.
Remember, Wack is at court with Blueface and Krishan Rock, and he's with his lawyer, and then you see the sheriff's right there, and he said, remember I was fighting the strikes? When have y'all heard about Wack fighting some strikes or going back to jail since he got out in 99? When? Remember I was fighting the strikes? This the one that helped me get out of jail. And then tells the sheriff, call me. So the police got his number. The sheriff sergeant right here has Wack100's number. Nasty work. Watch this.
Remember I was fighting the strikes? Yeah, that's it. Dude that spoke on Shaq, he's completely right, because I was caught up in the middle of all that.
Well, first of all, I was caught up in the middle of all of that. Listen. Arrests made other than
Completely right, because I was caught up in the middle of all that.
Well, first of all, there were no arrests made other than Cash Jones.
Wack100, most famously known for
the lead investigator of the case, part of the Joint Task Force, said what?
Completely right, because I was caught up in the middle of all that.
Well, first of all, there were no arrests made other than Cash Jones.
Wack100, most famously known for arguing on
That's all I
Clubhouse, has
wanted
been
to show.
exposed as an...
That's all I wanted to show. They done raided your house on a Friday. You were arrested. You probably was fighting those strikes. The house and the deed has your name. So you got constructive possession of guns, whether they're in your wife's name or not. Under California law, that's illegal, right? For an ex-felon to have constructive possession of to firearms, right? You're caught on a wiretap. You wanted us to believe that you slick talked your way out of the Joint Task Force giving you a wiretap call, then wiretap charge. Then you still want us to believe that you saved 7 Main Street Crips. So in hindsight, this Paru saved the 7 Crips, right? The same case, and they owed you one. This is the same case. But you proffered up on the upper conference room floor. In the upper conference, 2 days after your house being raided. And they're telling you you got guns. They're telling you you got a wiretap. Usually when they raid your house and they got your wife cuffed up, and they pull you out your truck and they got you cuffed up and they search. And once the house is through searching, mind you, the only reason he left that day because they had a company call and say they had a load for him to pick up. Robert Ross had told them it was like Fort Knox in there, so they wanted to get him out of the house before they so they could go up in the house. You know what I'm saying? So they already just trying to get him out the house. Soon as he leave, they raid the house, pull over his truck, they find what they find, and they arrested Cash Jones. He bailed out probably Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday evening. By Sunday, April 27, 2008, Cash Jones was in the upper conference room, nigga, with his lawyer, and they were telling them what they got on him. So what you gonna give us? What are you gonna give us? As a matter of fact, let's hear what Greg Kading said, because he was the head of the task force, not the lead on that case. He helped federalize it, but he was the head on that task force, the Joint Task Force, right? Let's see what Greg Kading. Let's see what Greg Kading is talking about with the with what he said was said up there, right?
Damu
Kiwe. My bad.
Nations.
That ain't it. Yeah, we finna get up out of here, but I want y'all to hear what Greg Kading said about what happened. Oh yeah, there it go right there. So the Greg Kading. He brings them to Clubhouse. So for those who wasn't on Clubhouse and don't know this, so I exposed the CS2 back paperwork. Within 10 minutes, Wack100 has Detective Greg Kading and Reggie Wright Jr. on Clubhouse trying to contest that he was CS2 back. Listen to, and saying that Greg Kading was the lead on the Main Street investigation, as well as listen to what Greg Kading said happened once they raided his house. Let's go.
So yeah, I was a cop in LA.
Hold on. Y'all to hear how he introduced him.
We got Reggie Wright, top right. Reggie Wright contacted Greg Kading. Greg Kading was the lead investigator. I'm probably saying this shit wrong. He'll tell you more.
Was the lead
on that
investigator.
case. To where well, fuck it, Greg. Tell him who you are.
That's funny. So yeah, I was a cop in LA. I ended up working on Tupac and Biggie's murder investigations back in the 2000s, and then I left and wrote a book about it called Murder Rap. So yeah, I had an opportunity to kind of like dive deep into all of the different theories and accusations and ideas behind what had happened with both Pac and Big, and that's it.
All right, so Greg, Reggie sent you a document, and I'm looking at that and looking at the names. MS, I'm identifying that as Mark Stevens. DD, I know is Del Dog, and they got a name on there called Back, BACK, and it has some shit. Let me pull this shit up so I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Back, and it has some shit says CS2. Now, can you tell the people?
So Wack got a copy of the paperwork I put up on my website, and Greg Kading is not denying that the paperwork says CS2 back. So I don't know how he can later come back and say I added CS2 back to the paperwork. Let's go.
What my position in this case? How did Cash Jones, Wack100, how did I get involved or implemented in this case with the guy with the other box?
Okay. So it all started when there was an FBI agent who told us that he had an informant that could potentially give us some information about Suge Knight that may help us further our investigation into the murders of Tupac and Biggie. That's where it all started. And so we went. Went and met with this informant, and it turned out to be Box. And we sat down. It was like on Melrose or Santa Monica, and he pulled up in his Bentley, and we sat down at a Starbucks and started to chop it up. And he gave us this information that led to you. And so we didn't know what was real.
What the hell was the information that led to me?
Well, the information was that if we looked into you, we might find some things out that would help us maybe get some leverage on Suge. So it was just like that. And so we're like, all right.
If we found some on you, we'll have leverage to get some information on Suge. And that's what happened.
We didn't know any better. We're like, well, FBI says this guy, is worth listening to.
So the guy we talking about that we're listening to is Stutterbox.
Right.
So Greg, before you go any further, how long does a motherfucker gotta be like working with the FBI before they're calling a guy like you that's investigating the case as serious as you have to say he's a reliable source?
Well,
Greg, explain to him the different level of informants you have, and that answers the question better.
So there's a CI, which is a confidential informant. There's a CRI, which is a confidential, reliable informant. There's a witness. There's different levels of informants and sources of information. And so as cops, we're just going to listen to everybody. And in time, you prove whether or not they're reliable or not. But you don't just disregard somebody because you haven't proven their reliability. So, I don't know what Box had going on, the whole Main Street thing and all his drama and background going on with that case. I became involved in it.
Now, remember, Wack introduced him as the lead investigator of the Stutterbox case. That's the paperwork that I exposed. Now, he's saying he don't know what was going on with that case. He didn't get involved until later when he helped federalize it. Listen.
As cops, we're just going to listen to everybody. And in time, you prove whether or not they're reliable or not. But you don't just disregard somebody because you haven't proven their reliability. So, I don't know what Box had going on, the whole Main Street thing and all his drama and background going on with that case. I became involved in it later, but at that point in time, they're just saying, hey, you should talk to this guy.
Yeah.
He may be able to give you some information that will help with your case. That's it.
Hey, Greg, so could you tell them what level they told you that he was? Was he reliable? Was he a CI? Had he worked in the past for him? Or what, if you could tell just a different level that that they represented to you that he was?
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, I don't remember exactly what the language was or what the qualifications were. It was just like, hey, we have this guy, says he can help you guys out. We're working with him on something else, and so give him the time to hear him out, and that's it. I don't remember if they said he was established as a reliable.
You portrayed him as a reliable, meaning that he gave reliable information in the past in the movie. This FYI.
Yeah, well, it's a movie, so people do what they're going to do to make these stories more entertaining. I'm just telling you that what actually happened.
It was your movie.
Box, hold on, Reggie. When you got with Box tells you that this is guy that if you look into him, Mike could give you or lead you to him doing some illegal business with Suge Knight. That was his whole thing.
Yes.
And that guy was me.
You're right.
So where did it go from there?
So we said, all right, we'll give this information the benefit of the doubt. And we began to kind of look at you and figure, okay, well, the claim is that they're doing interstate transportation of narcotics. And so we do what we do in order to determine if there's any truth to that. And so we start investigating you. And as it runs its course. We don't find anything incriminating or anything to validate the claims that Box had made. And then
what steps did you take, Greg? Did things happen to me with my home? Like, y'all really fucking looked into me.
Yeah, we did. We looked into you. We wiretapped you and started to track your truck and do everything we could to verify whether or not the information that we were receiving was valid. And ultimately, it turned out not to be. We did a search warrant at your house and came up pretty much empty-handed, with the exception of some worn-out old gun that I think belonged to your wife's dad or some shit like that.
Now, the gun belonged to his wife's dad. But remember, earlier he was saying the guns, plural, were in his wife's name. Nasty work. He's on here lying that there was only one gun. Let's go.
That. And that was it. It was a ultimately a fucking waste of time.
All right, so then I then came down to, I believe that's the federal headquarters on fucking Wilshire. I think in my representation at the time might have been Jeff Brody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the story is when I came down to Wilshire, I came down there to inform and not pick up whatever little items I had, or I don't know what the fuck that was, but I know I had to come down to that Wilshire building, and I came down with my legal, which was Jeff Brody. I guess his whole narrative is I went to the Wilshire building to inform, which I don't know why I would have to inform because I was never subject to any arrests or anything like that. So you let them know what my trip down to the Wilshire building entailed.
Yeah. So I remember that day, and you came down there, and we basically just confronted you on the allegations and, you know, explained to you why we were doing what we were doing, giving you the opportunity, you know, with the hopes that you would know something that could help us out. Turned out you really
Put it in the back
didn't
chat,
have any information that
Selena.
was beneficial to what we were pursuing.
Put it in the
that was it. You know, we said, hey, you know, here's why we're here. Here's how we got here. And this is all there, you know, ultimately is to it, unless you have something you want to tell us, which was essentially nothing.
So now Greg Kading's rendition is when they got to the FBI building, he told them, this is what we have here. You just heard what he had, the guns, the wiretap, and this is your opportunity to give us what we want. And what he said and he told them was essentially nothing. Not that he didn't tell them nothing, essentially nothing to help their case. Let's listen to that again.
We basically just confronted you on the allegations and, you know, explained to you why we were doing what we were doing, giving you the opportunity, you know, with the hopes that you would know something that could help us out. Turned out you really didn't have any information that was beneficial to what we were pursuing. That was it. You know, I said, hey, you know, here's why we're here. Here's how we got here. And this is all there, you know, ultimately is to it, unless you have something you want to tell us, which was essentially nothing.
And then in your paperwork, I don't know, how was I referred to? Was I referred to Wack, Cass Jones? They have this Back name. I don't know who the fuck Back is. I don't know. I know I've never had that moniker, but no, I don't know. Maybe it was some coded shit. Or how did you recall referring to me through all the paperwork when you guys were like listening in on my wiretaps? So like saying, okay, this is Wack, this is Cass Jones on the wiretap. What was I referred to in your because I've never looked over that paperwork, never had a need to. What was I referred to?
Well, you would have been identified as referred to most likely as like a target. And like your phone would have been target number, or your license plate would have been target whatever. It would have been, you know, clearly understandable to anybody reading it that this has something to do with this car, this phone, this person. You know, we wouldn't have referred to you as an informant because you never were. We would have referred to you as a target or a source of.
We would have referred to you as a target or a source of. Listen, did y'all catch that? This nigga on here lying and it's coming out. Listen.
You know, we wouldn't refer to you as an informant because you never were. We would have referred to you as a target or a source of, not a source of information because you weren't even that. So, you know, I'm a little vague on it right now because it's been a while. But
And that's it. They would have referred to him as a source of, well, I can't say source of information because you weren't even that, right? You're not that. You're not a source of information, but you are a confidential source, number 2 back. Yah L, you want to say something before you take us out, man?
Oh, man. This is very needed. It's very needed because people need to get embedded in their minds. Just like how things were force-fed to your ancestors. It's not force-fed right here, but it's repeatedly given to you because you need to know what type of individuals you guys are around. Well, all the way to Mark Stevens saying he had this information and chose not to disclose it for some years. And now it comes out because this individual is playing tough on the internet. And then he want to play tough, and then he want to use his muscle, like, because he comes from a community that we're all privy to. Some know better than others because they lived it. But then you don't give that information to the people that matter, that can get an understanding and deal with this the way they're supposed. It's a delicate situation. You got ties to somebody like this, and that goes for everybody who knows or have dealt with somebody who was compromised. And the fact that you have the information, withholding the information does not help. It only hurts. You want to know why it hurts? Look at Big U situation. Look at Big U's situation. He's hurt because now knowing of something, which he would have known a little sooner, maybe would have prepped him to deal with this differently. But all in all, the brother disclosed the information, and salute to, disclosing it. But sometimes things are expedient and sometimes things are not. In this case, it was expedient to get this information out so that we can know who we are around. We keep expounding on these things so you guys can understand, like, your name is worth more than gold and silver. Having a good name is worth more than gold and silver. And having morals and standards. Duse turned down business with this individual. I've turned down deals because of our morals and our standards. And we want to know who we're around at all times. And you should want to know too. This is not just content. It's a wake-up call. It's showing you who's standing on what and who's not standing on anything. We don't sit down when we take piss. We don't do that. We stand on business and we handle it correctly. Salute to everybody who tapped in today on YouTube. Salute to everybody who tapped in on Clubhouse. You guys have sat through 3.5 hours of authentic receipts and content. Very informative information.
Fucked over Reggie Wright and back.
Super over. These dudes are barbecue, cooked, rotisserie roast, rat, and pig. Wee! With sliced up veggies all around it. And you guys, you valid supporters, you followers of truth, we commend and appreciate you for every super chat, for every view, for every like. We salute you and thank you for supporting the truth. And always free Big U until he's home. Salute to everybody on Clubhouse. Salute to the mods in the goo and on stage. Salute to the live, man, to the valid supporters that's always tapping in. And if you a friend that tapped in because of a friend, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe this content and shared it and told a friend for tapping in. Salute to the mob, the Blue Wrench mob that's on their job. Salute to Duse M's, the Don. And Yah L, the Kiwe pop star. With the most authentic receipts and the voices of the culture and the West Coast. Damu Kiwe. Conversations.
Hey, yo, we going out off this Dose of Reality new hit. Y'all go subscribe to the bro.
Salute to the brother Dose of Reality TV, and Scandalous Los Angeles TV.
Wack100 ain't nothing. Ooh, always fun. Ooh, he punkin'.
That was one of his lies too, Kareem. He forgot about that.
Ooh, I done seen big homie CT and didn't do nothing. Ooh, Wack100, you ain't nothing. You expect us to believe a 400-pound man was running? Steady frontin', stick to hustling, cause you fell in thuggin'. Who is you really scary in at 5'3"? Bald head, butterball, undercover freak. You want no jumper with Adam looking nastier than he, which is scary to think. Ooh, you nasty. How you know everybody's business but a dermatologist, ironically. You on YouTube in bed with you butt in the air, talking about whoever you can at the moment, while R&B retrieving some lotion. Probably KY jelly, cause something tells me you wanna feel something long up in your belly. Oh, Wack, you nasty. Oh, Wack100, you nasty. Talking all that ish about brick, but been in the same building for a year. And what you done did, real G's throw signs, but they also would been slide. You selling wolf tickets. Yeah, you selling wolf tickets. Wolf tickets? You front, no, you front, yeah. Wack100, yeah, you front. Wack100, yeah, you front. Ooh, yeah. You was not star, yeah.
Salute to Dose Reality TV. Salute to all of y'all for hanging out with us. I really appreciate the support. Salute to all of the chat and everything that y'all gave. Till tomorrow.